Welcome back to the Kick and Post YouTube channel and podcast. I have been delayed in posting these on the podcast. My name is Amal. I am with
Roger.
You know what I found out recently?
What's that?
Whichever way I point my microphone when we're recording, the video tends to export the opposite direction. And I
Oh,
think it does that to embarrass me, but that's fine. UFC
on my screen, you
326.
pointed in the right direction. So,
Yeah, exactly. See, now you're here to back me up for when this does
yeah.
export. I'll be pointing to nothing and you'll be over here responding. UFC 326 BMF fight between Max Holloway and Charles do Bronx Oliveira has concluded. An interesting card by some people's metrics, underwhelming. Um, I'll get into all of that, but we're gonna get into each fight and then
Each one.
discuss the White House card that was fully revealed during this fight card as well. How are you doing this morning, Roger?
So far, so good. Woke up earlier than I wanted to, but got the kid off to school. It was good.
Love it, love it. Um, yeah, I've. This is one of the few times over the last couple weeks that live start to finish early prelims all the way to the final fight, I was able to tune in uninterrupted.
Nice.
So I was able to see a lot of nuances and stuff like that. And I want to get into that first fight
Okay.
because we talked about Rodolfo Bellato versus Luke Fernandez. Fernandez, the surging prospect, win his Dana White Contender Series fight. Not Contender Series. Is it Contender Series?
Yeah.
Yeah, Dana White Contender Series. There's two different ones and I mix them up all the time. But Dana White Contender Series fight in 15 seconds and shows promise going into the light heavyweight division against Rodolfo, who we, has had a mixed run in the last few fights. Like we said before, some losses, draws, no contest, but pretty huge, heavy puncher, decent grappling in the lightweight division, not heavyweight division. And I will preface, Luke Fernandez looked great. For the time he was in there. He was applying pressure. The strikes looked natural. It was fluid. He was, I don't want to say getting in and out without taking damage, but he was for the most part getting in and out without taking damage until he wasn't. And Rodolfo apparently had changed gyms for this fight. I think he said he's with Top Team or something like that. And they said the main thing they coached him on was patience, and finding that opportunity to kind of strike. And boy, did he!
Yeah,
because he wasn't as active in the early part, but I don't know if you could really call it set up a trap, but he allowed Luke Fernandez to kind of open himself up to try to go for, I don't know if it was a finish because he tagged him. He didn't look too wobbled to me, but he tagged him, probably felt that he tagged him clean, went in for what he thought would have been the finish, which for a lot of younger fighters, and when I mean younger in the game, both of them are the same age, but this is Luke's first big opportunity in the octagon officially with the UFC. And in his prior fights, when people get tagged, it's probably time to finish. This is the big leagues. Bellato wasn't hurt enough. He goes in with himself opened up. Short left hook. Very precise right on the button. Sits him down. And that's all she wrote. Now, I'm not calling any lucky shots because that's not a lucky shot. That's training. Yeah, very, very technical, very good hit. In terms of where both these prospects go from here, though, I still have a lot of faith in what Luke Fernandez could do in the long run because I saw the skill set again in that small window before he got dropped of someone who just needs a little bit more refining, but he has the comfortability to be in there and exchange close up with somebody who could grapple, which leads me to believe he has, faith that if he gets taken onto the ground, he could hold his own down there. He just got caught with a very well-timed hook. And Bellato, I need to see more because the first 2 minutes of this fight, I was like, he's getting kind of, the speed advantage, clearly Luke. The accuracy advantage on the strike was clearly Luke. The timing was just there for Rodolfo, so I need to see another opportunity against somebody else. Maybe not a debutant, maybe somebody who's been in there a little bit to see if Bellato's really, righted the ship a bit. What's his view?
I I know he got knocked out or TKO'd, but I was very impressed with Luke Fernandez. I think
Yeah.
he's going to be kicking himself. Um, this is, I think, the difference when he goes back to watch this fight. I think what he's going to see is, um, at least it would be the first thing that I saw when watching the fight. So being in the fight and watching the fight are completely two different things. Um, and watching the fight, I think he's going to see that he had an opportunity after he got clipped to kind of wrestle his way out of it. And instead of wrestling in towards him, he kind of bellied out and went out. And when he did, he just had to cover up because Bellato's punches were coming so fast because he was just raining them down. Like his finishing instinct was really good. Belago, um, really good. Um, you really can't take anything away from him as far as that finishing sequence goes. He was right on the money. He did everything he should have done. And Luke Fernandez is going to see that after he got clipped and he's getting hit, he did have the opportunity to wrestle and he turned the wrong way. And when he turned the wrong way, because he wasn't hurt,
Mm-hmm.
but he wasn't defending himself. And that defense is probably going to come a little bit better when he turns into his opponent as opposed to when he turns out and away and just kind of bellies down. And I think that's what got him. He may have never been in that position fast, but the whole fight, he was winning that fight the whole time. I like you. I think that he's going to do great once he gets his next fight and keeps going. There's going to be some growing pains, but I think overall he's probably the better fighter, even though he lost the fight.
Yeah.
Um, but we did see Bellato take advantage, great finishing instincts, inactive in the first round. Maybe that change in camp is going to make him um, just kind of tighten up his game a little bit from where he had been. And
Mm-hmm.
so, I'd like to see him, in his next fight. I'll be watching his next fight. I like to see where he's at. I don't hesitate to say a step up in competition because he was losing the fight until he clipped him. But he clipped him and he
But he
won.
clipped him. He hung in there and he timed it.
So
So
sometimes that's a curse when you clip somebody that you're losing to. Like you win, you get that win, and you get that next opportunity. But are you ready for that next opportunity? And I think that's where I sit right now. Is he ready for that next opportunity? Um, but again, we can say that about him, but Fernandez is the same age. So neither one of them are getting any younger. So it'll be interesting to see where it goes. I think had the fight played out to a 3-rounder, I think Fernandez probably takes a decision win. But this is, you can't go and change the way the fight ended with a TKO and Fernandez with the loss. So
yeah.
he may have looked like the better fighter, but he still lost. So in the end,
Nobody's gonna look back on this and be like, "Oh well, it says W, but let me see how
yeah,
to give it to you."
right, right,
It's wins
yeah,
and losses, no matter how they come, right?
yep,
One thing I thought about when I saw that we saw a guy make a similar mistake at the UFC Mexico City card, and it really reminds you like sometimes it's all about weight classes because Eminal made the same mistake against Borjas, pounced a little bit too quick, wide
mm,
open, got tagged.
yeah,
If he's a heavyweight or a light heavyweight, that's probably it, right?
yeah,
But
yeah,
because of the size of the fighter, the speed, the ability to, they're gonna let those smaller guys go for a little bit longer
hmm,
because they know those punches are a little bit less consequential, and you can sprawl and wrestle. These light heavyweights are heavyweights. You get dropped, even middleweights, depending. You get dropped. That's it. You're not gonna get much opportunities to pop back up and find your way. So, um, it's just interesting to see,
yeah,
highly touted prospects on back to back cards get clipped really
hmm,
hard and just see the shift in
yeah,
how one guy can recover. And one guy unfortunately just doesn't get an opportunity to.
no,
Not an early stoppage by any means, but
no, no, I don't
yeah,
think
it's
so.
just big boys hit hard, man. That's what it is at the end
Yeah.
of the day.
And I think once
Um,
you curl up and you put those arms
yeah,
over your head like that, I mean,
that's it. That's all she
it's
wrote.
intelligent defending, and, once you're covering up, you're not trying to fight back, and I think
Nope.
that's like the tap out of strikes. You're just trying to not get hit anymore and trying to give the ref a chance to stop the fight.
Exactly.
So
Um, a fight that I felt like the other fighter had enough juice to get a stoppage was Sumiderji versus Jesus Aguilar, man. Um, I talked about the looping overhand punch that Aguilar has landed in the past to
mhm.
get a knockout. Um, I don't know if he had my phone tapped, but he's like, "You like that? I'm gonna throw a
Yeah,
couple of those.
all
I'm
fight.
gonna throw a couple of those all fight." And as expected, Sumiderji was not there to be hit with any of those telegraphed long over looping overhand punches, but he was there to tee off on Aguilar. We
Mhm.
figured Aguilar might have the ground advantage. He didn't have that either.
Yeah.
So it really left him in a bad spot because physically he's given up that reach advantage. Skillfully, he's given up that striking advantage. We thought there'd be opportunities on the ground. He gave up that as well. So Madeshi was better on the ground. So you're
Mhm.
really in there with somebody who's got you outmatched in every aspect. And I'd even say heart. They both have great heart in there. Because even in
Yeah.
the last bit of the fight, Sumideji gave him a Max Holloway type opportunity, gave him the point, and they stood in there and they threw.
Mhm.
He didn't step back, he didn't shoot. So um, I think Sumideji showed a lot of good things in there. He
Yeah.
loves him a good spinning kick. He gave me a
Yes, it
couple of
does.
those as well, but very crisp striking. Um,
Yes.
for his not development, but for his ascension, what I think he might need to do, pedal to the metal a little bit more. When you have somebody in there that
Mhm.
you're clearly better than, and there's
Yeah.
not much danger, and you're hurting them, to elevate yourself up the ranks a little bit quicker. You need to get guys out of there.
Yeah.
We need a few moments out of you.
Yeah.
And this was an opportunity with a hittable opponent, like we talked about last week with Quinones versus Moutinho, a
Mhm.
guy that's there to be hit, right? You got to
Yeah.
take advantage of those moments to get those guys out of there so you can build up that resume. Because other than that, you're going to be fighting a lot of fights in a row to get to where you're trying to get to. Um,
Yeah.
you know, I feel like when it's a little bit of a harsh criticism, but that's over the years. That's what I've seen since watching the sport, right?
Right.
Um, Izzy, one of my favorite fighters, initially to get me back into the UFC, his ascension didn't come off of point winning fights. His ascension really came when he was, styling and dropping guys like Derek Brunson.
Mhm.
The brawl with Gastelum,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Not, you know, fun, exciting 3-round decision fights.
Yeah.
It's tough to kind of say it that way, but I loved what I saw. I think he's a great person to add to that flyweight mix. He is also ready for a significant jump in talent from
Mhm.
Jesus Aguilar. And the future could be bright for Sumiderji. Because it looks fluid. The fluidity is
It
great.
is.
What says you?
Yeah. Um, Pretty similar in that his last 3 fights were decisions. I didn't go back further than that. And he's looked great in all 3 of them. So, but he's not getting guys out. So if you're gonna want to make a name for yourself, then you gotta start getting guys out. Now, am I gonna watch the fight when he fights next?
Heck yeah.
Sure. Yeah,
Heck yeah.
I'll watch that fight. He's an entertaining fighter. Um, just because you're not getting guys out doesn't mean like you won't get eyes on it, but you're probably not going to get a big name from it. So I would expect his next fight to also be on the prelims until he starts, making a name for himself, or he extends that win streak that much further. He's going to have to make it a little more undeniable. He's going to have to go on a huge run. If you're not, and that's kind of the way it is. Like the knockouts and the finishes put you up in the rankings a lot faster than the decisions. A lot of these guys that are on 8, 9 fight win streaks, they get there with, you know, before they haven't got a shot on an 8 fight win streak. It's usually because people don't want to watch them fight so much. So I'll watch it because I like the striking. I'm okay with a decision win
Me
when
too.
the fight's entertaining. There's
Yeah.
another decision win that came later where I was not entertained and found myself looking down on my phone quite a bit or turning away from the screen to look at something else because it just wasn't entertaining. His fight was entertaining, so I liked it. Strikes crisp. Um, Man, he's really good. He's
He is
really
good.
good with his hands. Really quick, really fast. Um, I like watching fight. I
Yeah,
like
I
those.
enjoyed it.
He connects. He's just pulls off moves in there that your average person can't do. Like everybody can probably throw a jab and a cross and a hook, and he's coming at it from different angles. I just really love that about him. But you're right. If he's going to move up, he's got to start finishing guys.
Yeah, it looks really fun in there to see somebody just switch kick or
Yeah.
that to be able to do it almost as easy as like
Hmm.
taking a step for how
Yeah.
quickly the leg comes up and comes over and moves with velocity and accuracy. It's he's almost like a ballerina in there in the most
Yeah.
complimentary way I could
Yeah.
put it. Just full body control. So nah, I enjoyed watching him. I did skip over the other light heavyweight fight, which we'll go back and say, because I was going, I was trying to go in order, but the ESPN app jacked me up again.
Yeah.
Um, but Rafael Tobias versus Dyer Nergeze.
Hmm.
I think we both took Tobias in this one. The young gun who was like
We did,
22.
and that
Um,
was a mistake.
we saw the inexperience. There is a statistic about UFC debutants that we keep ignoring, that there's like a high percentage chance they usually lose that early fight.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I took it all last time, and I
yeah,
lost in every single one where I was like, "No, he's a new guy. He's going to
you're
lose to
right.
the experienced guy." And then they all won. So this time I was like, "Okay, I was taught my lesson." And now I'm
And
like,
then
"Okay,
they all
well,
lost. Yeah,
back to what I went to before. Maybe that
yeah.
that one
You might
fight
have had
card
the right
was a one
idea.
off."
You might have the right idea,
Yeah, because
just the wrong card.
yeah,
Nergeze
hmm,
impressed me with how he controlled where the fight went.
yeah,
And I'm not a martial arts specialist, but when you have three commentators on the card saying that the fighter looks like he doesn't understand that he's fighting a favorable stance to his stance and
hmm,
he's not circling the right way and
yeah,
he's just staying in range to get hit with what Nergeze throws, that's a problem. Again, the guy is 22. That is super young. He has
yeah,
lots of room to grow. Um, he ate a lot of front kicks. Dyer
hmm,
Nergeze's kicking ability at that size is impressive. Able to get his foot up very quickly. Um,
hmm,
no matter the distance, I feel like Tobias could be like, knees length away, and he's still able to get that leg up high enough and just kick him in the chest to create
yeah,
distance. Um, Nergeze's little face tick,
yeah. I mean, I don't know.
interesting, interesting. I don't know if he, yeah, that face tick right there,
Punch,
yeah, yeah,
punch. I
punch.
think it's going to get him in trouble one day because I think
He is.
I mean, his hand is up there, but I think it skews his vision, at least in that eye. So if
Don't
somebody
be
wants to take
surprised if he
advantage of it,
throws this, and then when he goes like this, the next thing he
hmm,
sees on this side is like a leg.
yeah.
Because if you're timing the tick, like, which is hard, but you just kept
I mean,
seeing it.
it's really I think it was Cormier, but
Hmm.
one of the commentators, I think both of them would probably do well to listen to the commentating on this, and I'm not usually one for that, but in this
Hmm.
particular fight, they should both watch
They
it
should review it that way. Yeah.
because they gave it away. They gave away where you can get it. They said he throws a punch and then he does his tick where I don't know if he's rubbing his eye, his eyebrow, I'm not sure, but whenever he throws a punch, he comes back and he does that. Um, and it's only with the one side, and it's only, I think it's his right side. Um, and he rubs his eye. So if you notice, in your fight that he hasn't dropped that habit, you know, take a step back. And once you hit that back step, take a step forward and get him. It's going to be a left hand. So anytime he's fighting a southpaw, he's going to have to watch out with that. Now he's southpaw himself. So, um, but when he's southpaw, he's going to be able to see the jab, with his other hand coming forward if he's fighting, orthodox. But if he's fighting a southpaw and he tries to do that and their jab hands are together and he throws one and pulls his hand back because he leaves it there. It's not like he touches it. It's not like Diego Lopez touching his
with the
neck. I
neck.
mean,
Yeah,
he leaves it there.
he's like rubbing on it. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and I don't know what it is, and I'm not trying to joke on him, but
no,
I do think it's gonna bring him into danger later on possibly because if somebody, with good hands sees that tick, I mean, he's gonna get eaten up, and, they're gonna rub his eye for him.
they
So,
probably would. They probably would rub his eye for him.
yeah,
I
but,
think I think the striking was great on his part too, though.
it really was,
Yeah.
and it's always, surprising to me because we all have our little biases and our thoughts, and when you see somebody who has who's built like he is, and he's going against a guy built like Tobias, you it looks like Tobias is gonna be the more athletic. It looks like he's gonna be the faster. It looks like
Hmm.
he should be the stronger, and he wasn't the faster one. He
He
wasn't
was
the
not.
stronger one.
No,
He wasn't the one that had the best technique. Um, and it kinda when you see that that's the case, it kinda makes you go, "Oh, wait a minute." I was watching this fight
through a different lens.
through a different lens, yeah.
Hmm.
And I love to see that because I love to be surprised by stuff like that. I love guys who can do things that they don't look like they should be able to do.
Hmm.
When Chris Barnett does what does he do, the backflip or the front flip?
Yeah,
And, you know, it's like that guy should not be able to do that, but he can. And I just love seeing that.
it's pretty cool.
The short guy that can dunk a basketball.
Hmm.
Love it. You know? So I liked watching Dior fight. And did you see the low blow?
Yeah,
I've never seen a low blow like that. He punched him.
yeah, uppercut, blow, blow. Yep.
And it's like, what you think you hit?
Yeah, yeah.
But it
If you,
was it
yeah,
was it was interesting that I've never seen the commentators be like, no, the guy who said he got hit was the one that threw the knee. And then they had to show it from the other side. And of course, behind the leg, you couldn't see it from the first view as a punch
yeah,
coming right up.
right up in the area.
Yeah. Yeah, there were a couple of those where I thought the commentators had very good points.
Hmm.
Um, the other one we'll get to later.
I
Um,
can't wait to talk about the other one. But yeah,
yeah,
I think Nergaze could find itself fighting Bellotto next. I would be okay with that.
I would be fine with that. That'd be a
Yeah,
great fight.
that'd be a good kind of like, okay, where is Bellotto? Is he actually going in the right direction? Nergaze takes out the young gun that came from, Contender
Yeah.
Series.
I
Yeah,
mean, honestly, you could probably switch those two opponents and
yeah. See where
loss
we're
for
at.
loss and win for win and see where they go for there.
No, for sure. That would be my matchmaking if I was going to keep it simple
Yeah.
for those four guys. Um, On to our boy, the Art of KO, Tumen
Yep.
Dembrell versus Cody Durden. Um, Great grappling fight.
Mm,
Great grappling fight.
yeah.
Tumen Dembrell, I think, had the advantage on the hands, but we didn't get to see that much.
Mhm.
Defensive grappling and offensive grappling solid.
Yeah.
Some stuff to learn on the offensive side, though. There were some submissions via the commentators because, again, your boy likes punching, so I'm not going to tell you, oh, yeah, he has
Yeah.
the perfect angle for the arm triangle. I don't know none of that. I know he was on top. I know he was doing his thing. I know when
Yeah.
he was on the bottom or getting approached by Cody, those advantageous positions from Cody were quickly fixed. Um, and I know Tumen Dembrell, he got a little bit of a mean streak in there.
Mhm. Yeah, it
Some
is.
stuff after the bell.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if that will serve him well down the stretch, but not a very likable guy right now, especially after how he was treating Cody Durden in there. Um, Came out with the win. Congratulations to him. I'm excited to see his next one and hoping I could
Yeah.
see a little bit more of that striking on display. But you get in there and get out quickly and say, well, not quickly, get out there safely.
Mhm.
Doesn't look like he sustained any serious injuries. Uh,
No.
Move on to the next one, but still a lot to see from him because I don't think he got to display that much.
Yeah.
Um, I think he was just in a position where he's not going to leave himself to be submitted potentially by Cody Durden. Um, but with that top control, he did do enough to kind of still have me engaged for what his next fight will look like. How about
Yeah.
you? What says you about the
Um,
Mongolian Tumen Dembrell?
All right, so there were a couple of things. He hit Durden in the back of the head a couple of times. Um, and he did throw a punch after the bell. Um, well after, I mean, it wasn't like a second or two. The bell went off and then he threw the punch, but he still threw the punch after the bell. Now, having said all that, um, entertaining fighter. If now I know you're not a grappling, big grappling, you like the punches, you like the kicks, you like the strikes. For someone who likes the grappling, I thought he was pretty impressive. Cody Durden is not a slouch wrestling, and he thought he was going to come in with the grappling advantage. And they are the wrestling here. They were getting into some interesting exchanges where Tumen Dimbrall was able to float. And I like seeing wrestlers that can just kind of float. Probably the more famous one is Taporia and Charles, where Charles tried to get that lock on him and throw him, and Taporia just kind of floated his hips. In other words, he he. It's hard to describe it, but he should be, and for all intents and purposes, going one way, and he's able to just relax his body and just kind of float it the other way, or even roll through on some of that stuff. Um, I had a guy I wrestled with that was fantastic at this, but it was very entertaining to watch him get in and out of positions that it didn't seem like he should be able to do. He was an entertaining grappler. If you know, he was always moving forward. He was always trying to um, advance his position to win, instead of just laying on them. And so the thing is with somebody, when you've got two guys that have such different grappling styles, you get into a lot of weird situations. But the and I'm gonna get his name wrong. Tumen Dimbrall was actually very impressive in the wrestling. Um, the grappling. I know he's a judo black belt and all of that, but he used the striking with the grappling very well. He wasn't the strikes you got to see him, because most of the time this fight took place on the ground, and the strikes you got to see was him on the ground. So yeah, he did hit him in the back of the head a couple of times. Ref should have called that. These refs, when I said last week soccer kick should be legal, well, you're letting them do these illegal things all the time. Like, either call them or don't
Or
call
make
them.
them illegal, or make them legal.
Yeah, make them legal or don't. But if they're illegal, call them.
I
Take
agree.
that point away. If you're not going to take the point away, as I've heard another commentator say one time, if it the rule only matters if they enforce it.
Correct.
That's something Chael said. If they're not going to enforce it, what does the rule matter, right? So he hit him in the head twice, and he threw the punch after the bell. There were no points taken away. So he totally got away with it. So what's his incentive to not do it next time, right? So you either call it or you don't call it. So he was able to get away with a few on that, but his strikes while he was on the ground were pretty good. He was throwing elbows that you could tell were hurting Durden, and he would throw them from the top position. He would throw them from the bottom position, and pretty entertaining. I'm excited to see him fight. He's one of those fighters that I will probably watch unless his fouls get too egregious. I will probably watch him like I watch Nico Price. I'll be excited to see him fight. I don't expect him to win every fight. I don't even necessarily expect him to go on to win a title or be necessarily highly ranked. But
Yeah.
I do expect him to have entertaining fights when he fights. So far I like him. We'll see where he goes from here though.
Yeah, we got a lot to see from him still.
Yeah.
A guy that I'm also excited for, Albert Montez, went against Ricky
Mhm.
Tercios, and first round, great exchanges. The impressive part for me is just the fluidity on the ground. He was touted as the guy that was going to be kind of a ground specialist. Um, Ricky Tercios is a tough fighter, but it came down to who had the more efficient skills, because Tercios technically had more control on the ground. He just left himself in a position that Montez was able to take. I guess being a specialist like Montez is, you feel that weight transfer, and he was able to shift.
Mm-hmm.
Wrap his arms. It was 15 seconds. Wrap his arms tight, and then I think he had him on his back. No, he had him on his stomach, and then rolled over so the choke would be tighter. And you could just see Tercios going red. And then the ref had to storm in. He was out on the feet. Montez was quicker, sharper, but again, not necessarily his game. Tercios is just one of those guys who's a bit of a brawler.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He'll be good for matchups like this to kind of see what guys are coming in, but give Montez somebody a little bit higher. I think he's shown enough in this one to where I'd be excited to see him, jump to a little bit higher level of competition probably than previous thought. Maybe give him another ground guy with a bit of, decent hands at the featherweight position. But it was good. It was a good showing by him. I'm trying to think of featherweights I'd give him to fight, but I'm drawing a blank right now. I don't have the rankings pulled up in front of me, but I would definitely still go unranked fighter potentially for him. But nah, future could be bright for him. I saw some good things in there. Wasn't overly focused on just getting this to the ground. Seemed comfortable enough striking a bit, and we'll see against, again, better talent and not necessarily a brawler, how that works out for him in the future.
Yeah.
Dante Johnson. People were in love with this guy as a prospect. I know I'm out here like I'm already singing a swan song for him like he lost, but this fight was odd to see.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I watched this fight against Dumas. So Dante Johnson, big prospect. Watched the Dumas fight. Didn't think anything of it. The stance I saw in this fight, if he was fighting like that against Dumas, I would have remembered.
Yeah.
Very, very, very odd. My wife, so I said to my wife, asked very clearly, is he hurt? Why is he moving like that? Does he have like an injury? Why is his legs that straight? Like, is there something going on?
And he now just called it out too.
Yeah, that's like, I don't know if he's hurt, but you're right. That stance is very, very, very odd. Head up, leg locked, because no bend of knees. It again, if I'd seen the stance before, I would have remembered it.
Yeah,
I had never seen him fight that way. So, Cody Brundage was having success on the ground a bit. Actually was having success with the hands a bit too.
Yeah, he was.
Honestly, Dante Johnson's lucky to get out of there with a decision win, split decision win. He did win the fight, but it with the right judge, clearly, he could have very well lost the fight.
Yeah.
I wasn't impressed really with the performance. I wasn't hyped for what the future holds for Dante yet. He is very thickly built, but he is a shorter guy. He's 5'8". In that division, that is a bit shorter. It was a very odd fight to me. I'm gonna need to see another show improve. Granted, Cody Brundage is not great, but he's been in there with some good people.
Yeah.
So it was a good test for him. And I don't think they should just hand him again like a debutant or something like that. I think if Jackson McVeigh loses to Cedric Dumas in this upcoming fight, or to be honest, if Dumas wins this one, they could try to get it a rematch or something to see where Dante actually is at. I don't know. It's hard to find a good match that I'm excited for or feel like would be a good test for him after watching what I watched in that last fight. What says you?
I actually went back and looked at highlights just now of him fighting Dumas, and he does not always do that straight leg stance, but later in that fight, he started doing that straight leg stance in the Dumas fight, but early on he was not. So it's kind of a little bit odd. Yeah, I'm
Mm.
not as
Do you
high
think it's him
on.
leaning back on like instincts when things start going wrong?
Could be, but he started the
Because,
fight this way this time. So I don't know. Maybe something was going
but
wrong. Maybe there
yeah,
was an
maybe.
injury. Maybe there's something going on. But he fought Cody Brundage, and I think he was lucky to get out of there with the judge's decision. Um, it was split, and I thought Cody might win, and Cody was kind of half of himself because he took the fight on short notice.
He
And I
did.
thought this when I saw him. I was like, didn't he just fight in Australia? So it was very short notice. Because I think it was the Diego Lopez Volkanovski card that just happened.
Yeah, I think he fought
So
Cam Rouston is what they said,
yeah,
or
yeah,
something
yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Um, and I think Cody Brundage with a training camp beats him all day long. At least this version of himself. Now, if he's hurt, I got no problems. He's not making excuses for him for it.
Yeah.
He got out of there with the win. Next time, maybe his fight goes a lot better for him. But he honestly, um, when I saw Cody Durden take him down and you know hold him there and see what developed, I was like, this guy doesn't have a ground game. He's going to be in trouble when he gets to the higher levels fighting some of these guys because he just didn't seem to have developed that side of his game as thoroughly. And I think that's going to come up to bite him. The best thing he can do because now, do you remember how old he is? Because I don't remember how old he is. I think he's a young guy though, right? Dante Johnson. I
Yeah, I
don't think
think
he's one of the
he's not
older
like
guys
super
coming in,
young. He's not super young, but
but
he's
like
not.
27, 28, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, I can find out for sure.
But
27.
yeah, so either way, he does have a chance to develop some of that, at least on the defensive, and that's kind of, you know, um, I like to use Izzy as an example of this, and his name's come up a couple of times in this podcast already.
Yes.
But Israel Adesanya, amazing kickboxer, um, amazing striker. Alex Pereira, the same way, didn't have much of a ground game. Um, learn defensive wrestling if you're that striker.
Hmm.
Um, because you have to be able to know how to keep the guy from doing what he wants to do to you.
Hmm.
You're not going to learn all the offensive moves and become a world champion grappler at 27 years old, probably. You're probably already too far behind to do something like that. But you can learn enough defensive wrestling for MMA and for just regular self defense. You can learn that at that age and keep a guy from being able to take you down and do at will to you whatever he wants to. But right now, unless he was hurt or something, it doesn't seem like he's developed that side of his game. He looked lost, to be honest with you. So, but
I
Cody
think
Cody Brundage ran out of energy, and I think that's what
he did.
happened. Because sitting in those positions that he didn't have to sit in, I think was just him resting because he was out of energy, and a Cody Brundage that's not out of energy, I think wins that fight. No problems. There's not even a split. But I think that short notice caught up to him. So
I think my main issue is the advantage was supposed to be on the feet, and it didn't look like a clear advantage. Yes,
that's
he
true.
applied
Yeah.
good pressure and good jabs off.
Mm-hmm.
Would tag him with a couple power shots. Cody was winning off the jab too.
Mm-hmm.
Cody was able to engage and get close because the gap in striking wasn't that large.
Right.
Um, you know, I don't know. I just feel like a guy like that where you hype up the ability to, close the distance and show the
Mm-hmm.
athleticism. Even his athleticism didn't look like years and light
Yeah.
years ahead of Cody's at times in this fight. And I don't know, maybe he is banged up with something and he came out there and still took the fight and did what he needed to do.
Yeah.
Because just based on the prospect I saw against Dumas, it night and day to me. But
Yeah.
I digress. We'll see what's next for Dante. And Cody, I think, did enough to save himself for another
Yeah.
fight
Yeah,
or
I think
two.
so.
Because if he came out there and got flatlined, he
Yeah.
might have find himself in a, Shouts and Almeida situation where you do the company a favor
And
and they cut you right after. So this next one, I think a guy survived getting cut as well. And another guy might have to,
get cut.
get
I'll watch
cut
him fight
or
again, though.
white his way up the rounds. Oh my gosh. This fight it gave you a little bit of everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got a little bit of old school Cody, you saw some speed.
Yeah.
Got a little bit of old school Cody where he got tagged, head kick pretty early in the fight.
Flush.
That he recovered from, flush head kick. Long Zhao is I don't know. Have you ever seen like when kids are doing something bad? You have, of course. You've had 4 kids. And when you catch them in the act and they go, or they immediately stop.
Yeah.
Whenever Long Zhao would get tagged, he'd go,
yeah.
like he'd throw the arms up like, hey, that didn't hurt. That didn't hurt. I'm totally fine. That didn't hurt. That's what it seemed like he was doing for 90% of the fight. This fight, Long Zhao won this fight, right?
Yeah.
Cody lost round 1. Cody lost round 2. Going to round 3, knowing we needed to finish. He did not get a finish.
No, but he won the fight.
So let's get into how that is possible when you lose 2 rounds and win by decision. Long Zhao executes a low kick to the region. Cody, the first time, which I think he ended up kicking him 3 times, didn't he?
I think he only.
I feel like I
think it only
3.
stopped twice.
No, they stopped 3 times.
You think they stopped 3 times?
I think it was 2 in the third. Because after the third one, he's like,
well,
one
yeah,
more
that's
and we're
what I'm saying.
DQ
That third round.
Yeah, so it was twice in the third one, but I think he got one earlier in the fight. So I think there was one earlier in the fight. Low kicks happen.
There was a
low blows happen, I should say.
There was a headbutt when Cody Garbrandt went in, trying to get a shot, and they both dipped at the same time, and Cody went into the side of his head. Totally accidental.
Yes,
but I think 2 in that third round.
He gets Cody, and Cody throws up in a bucket.
Yeah, he got
from how bad the low kick was.
Yeah,
got a point taken. That's fair. What I've never seen in my career of watching the UFC is a second low blow that gets him all ramped up to fight and saying he's just going to go for it. You sure it wasn't 3? Why do I feel like there was 3 low blows? Because I feel like on the third one.
So here's what I think happened.
Because there was a first one.
The first one is when he got all ramped up.
And was
after he was
so the first one he got ramped up and was pointing. Yeah. So he's like, we're gonna go.
And the
right?
second
and then
one he was like, dang, I can't take a third.
Yeah.
And he kind of stayed away from him.
He stayed away from him. But I think this is the part that makes me a little bit sad. I'm pretty sure it was very clear to Cody that 2 points removed. Let's get on our bike here. And I wish I was an editing aficionado. I would edit the clip of Cody literally running away from Long Zhao. Back turned, full speed running away from Long Zhao with like 2 minutes left. And he eventually stood in front of him and jabbed and moved out the way. But the entire third round just turned into cat and mouse because I'm up. 2 points deducted. You have to floor me to win this fight. And I feel like to prove a point, I would have just had the fight be 27-27.
Yeah. I think
that's what
could
I would
have easily been that.
I would have just done 27-27, call it a draw, let's get out of here. There's no way, after watching a guy lose all 3 rounds.
I don't know that he lost that third round, though.
He did.
I don't know.
He did.
I mean, it was awfully close.
He did.
So
it wasn't that close. He lost that third round.
I thought that third round was pretty close.
No. I will not agree. I will not agree. You know,
I go
everything
to
is
the
about
Nick
the visual
Diaz.
too.
I go to the Nick Diaz Carlos Condit fight, where Carlos Condit won that fight on his bike, where it like running away, but he wasn't running away. He was sticking and moving. Cody was running,
Cody was running.
but
I was
he
about to
was
say I
still
could.
landing. Even when he was running, he was still landing, but he was actively running.
Long Zhao had a couple moments in there
He
too in
did.
that third
He
round
did.
where
Yeah. He did.
if you don't take those points, we already know if you don't take those points, what it
Yeah,
looks
Long
like.
Zhao would have won that fight. Yeah.
What do we do with this fight? Because I mean, I
can
saw
tell you
is
what you do with this fight.
I saw Cody Garbrandt, and I think he's done.
You give
Personally,
Long Zhao a new nickname. You call him Dennis the Menace.
okay.
Because he looked like the English version of Dennis the Menace, if you've ever seen that. I mean, he looked like he's somebody who's going to get himself in trouble and love
Okay.
every second of it. And you take that clip of Cody Garbrandt getting up and looking like the Terminator,
Yeah.
okay? And you play that before every fight he's about to go into from here on out. Him just raising up and getting ramped up about to go after him. And you use that for PR because you can't use any of the rest of the fight. You got to use
No,
that.
you can't.
You can't use him throwing up in a bucket.
You can't use that either.
You know, you use him rising up and looking like a dangerous dude in front of the camera. And then you send out the third round to every self-defense class in the country and say, this is how you stop somebody who is bent on killing you, is you kick them between the legs. And when the first one doesn't work, you kick them again, and then they're going to calm down and start running from you. So
Yes.
that's what you have to do with this fight. Like, Long Zhao is going to get in trouble. He's animated. He's kind of looks funny when he's animated. Like, not in like
He
a...
does. He
I mean,
sells
he
it almost
does.
like those what's
He's
those
someone
movie
you
styles
want
where
him
they
to
didn't
get in
talk?
trouble, you know?
Yeah, it's like those movie stars where they didn't talk and everything was like
Oh,
facial
yeah.
expressions. He's just like
Yeah, so animated. And
very animated.
I love that. And I think he's going to do more of that over his career. I think he's going to,
Career.
well, whatever that is. You know, some of these guys do leave the UFC and still keep fighting, you know.
Oh no, for sure.
Could you imagine
Shout
him
out Patchy Mix.
in the office?
He had a fight this weekend.
Did he? I didn't even know about it.
He got beat got KO'd for the first time in his career in
my
Rising
gosh.
by a 19-year-old up and comer. So
wow.
Love you, Patchy.
Yeah. But I think you know, could you see him in an office building making all those, you know?
I could.
I think that would be
who ate my sandwich
so,
at the refrigerator? He's gonna be like,
yeah.
I don't know, man. The whole fight was comedy. The whole fight was comedy.
It was
Garbrandt,
great. It was great.
Brother, what do you do with him? Because you can't give him. Realistically, he lost the fight, right? You're gonna give him somebody.
Yeah, give it.
He might need some recovery time because, like, testicular torsion is a real injury. And he got tore up down there.
Apparently, yes.
Yeah. So
even after the fight, he dropped down to his knees. Like he was probably in pain while he was fighting.
Yeah,
that's rough.
That is rough.
You can't give him a top guy when he just practically lost to Long Zhao. You got to give him a fight though. Like if he wants it, you give him a fight. And you give Long Zhao a fight because he practically won the fight. But you gotta figure out how to keep him from doing
kicking people.
Yeah, I mean
in the privates,
because eventually he's going to get cut for being dirty if he keeps it up. So
exactly.
But yeah, I did like though. I will say we talked about earlier the refs calling stuff. He had 2 points taken away from him.
I feel like
you don't see that very often.
If you're gonna do that, just DQ.
Yeah,
we shouldn't have had to get to the point where I'm watching somebody run around during the third round.
Mm-hmm.
Shouldn't have done that. Like at that point, call the fight a DQ.
Yeah,
let's keep this thing flowing. Let's keep this thing moving because that's pretty much what happened. Sorry. Call me, call me excessive or whatever it is. That just seemed very redundant to me. Because I guess you're giving Long Zhao an opportunity to drop a very soft-chinned Cody, which if Long Zhao kicks him in the nuts twice and then drops him, if I'm Cody, I'm pissed.
Yeah,
Also,
absolutely.
You're telling me he could have. I think the ruling is they would have called it a no. They wouldn't even have called it a no contest. They would have gone to the scorecards if Cody couldn't have continued after the first kick.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, after a certain amount of time, they can go to the scorecards if you can't.
But
continue.
How is that okay? Like we gotta
because
something's
they call
gotta
it
shift.
because they call it inadvertent. So it's like when in that second round when Cody's going for that takedown, and it's clear that he was not trying to go head to head with him. But he did go head to head with him, so he caused it, but it was inadvertent. And so if Long Zhao wouldn't have been able to recover from that, they would have stopped the fight and said, what's on the scorecards after a certain amount of time.
But guess what I'm doing? I'm banking 3 rounds and then cover your privates because I'm getting out of here. If that's how this works, that doesn't make any sense. That's my new strat. You seeing me for 2 rounds, and then at the beginning of the third, I'm loading up.
I mean, I would say you could do that once, but John Jones kind of built a career of his fingers being like this.
Yeah. So what are we talking about? You can't do it has to be a no contest or a DQ. It has to be punishable. I don't care about inadvertent because inadvertent is your interpretation of inadvertent.
Yeah. Well, it's like when a wide receiver goes out and there's pass interference and the guy didn't mean to, they're hand fighting. A ref call. It doesn't matter if he did it on purpose. It doesn't matter if it was inadvertent. A cop's not gonna ask you if you made a mistake when you crossed that line.
Yeah.
That you crossed the line. Like,
exactly.
Call it.
So if it's a DQ, it's a DQ.
Or don't let them soccer kick each other.
Or take points away. Yeah, or in your case, have nothing be a low blow.
Let them climb
that's part of your body.
Let them grab onto it.
Yeah, let him jump off the top of the octagon fence and heel stomp your lower regions, and that will not be a point taken off.
That's right.
In Rogers MMA.
Nope.
Go to the GoFundMe link. We're gonna get the league started. On to the main card, man. And this next fight, we don't have much to talk about, and there's a reason why we don't have much to talk about. Because I am one who believes in retribution. And we said that there'd be an opportunity for RoboCop to kind of right the previous loss.
Yeah.
To Bruno. This is not how I saw it going, but my.
It was beautiful.
Oh, jeez, man. Oh, my goodness.
It was clean.
It was so clean. Oh gosh, I feel for Bruno, right? And I heard jokes like, "Was this an early stoppage?" No. Did you see what he did to Jack Hermanson when somebody didn't stop him?
Yeah. No.
Golly, the ref, great execution by the ref.
Yeah.
There's not much to coach here except good defense and patience and waiting for opportunities and right down the pipe.
Yeah.
That's all she wrote.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Great win for RoboCop. The opponent, a lot of people want to see him fight. I've heard it's his teammate.
Who's
RDR.
That?
People want to see him go up and fight RDR. In competition, not go up, but in competition, want them to see him take on RDR. I'm not against it. I like it.
I mean, I'm not against the fight. Teammates don't like to fight each other. I get that. But as far as like where RDR is in his career, where Rodriguez is in his career, okay, but I don't know.
I mean, if RDR beats, or some thought he beat Kaio. I didn't see it that way. But if RDR beats Kaio, he's right there in the mix, right? I guess they're saying if RoboCop could take some of that juice, his next big fight would probably be a top 5. And then his next fight could be for a belt.
Yeah.
He's a problem. He's a heavy hitter for that division. He's huge.
Yeah.
He's strong. Been in there a bunch. I'm excited for what the future could hold for him. He needs to be tested grappling wise too, at least.
Mm-hmm.
But if he could keep doing what he's doing and have a strong base, uh, with that level of power in that division, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot could happen. The guys up top,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, the Hamzats of the world, if he's still up top, will be able to take him down. I think Strickland, if he learned anything from the Poitin matchup, will not engage with RoboCop in that regard. It won't be a jab and stick. I think he will approach it more like he approached the Adesanya fight.
Yeah.
Kaio, that would be an interesting matchup.
Yeah.
I have my thoughts on Kaio as well. I think RDR is a good level there.
He would be. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anybody in that range, I mean, I would watch Anthony Hernandez against him.
I would watch that as well.
I think that would be good.
As a get right fight for Fluffy. Brendan Allen's probably hoping to just be like a third backup situation, like a tertiary fighter to whatever if the next matchup is Imavov, Shemaev, Strickland's probably the backup. He's probably the backup to Strickland is what Brendan Allen's hoping for. So he's probably not looking to fight anybody like RoboCop right now. But there's some matchups up there for him in middleweight. We'll see how that shakes out, but great execution on that punch.
I would hate for my get right fight to be against Rodriguez. There's under no circumstances do I want my get right fight to be against Rodriguez. I don't, I know people like to fight and people like to be challenged and all that stuff. Yeah. I was always one who wanted to wrestle the heavier guys. Because I was in that middle. So when the heavier guys, like when they're training, when their partner was out, because you go in a wrestling room and like you've got your guy that you're always training with, right? When their guy was out, I was the next biggest one, especially in a year where we didn't have very many upper weights. So like if it was above my weight class, there were very few people that could step in there and train with any of those guys. And I loved doing that. But they're not punching me. Bro, if I have to go and train with the guy 2 or 3 weight classes above me, they're not punching me. They're the same weight class. I get it. But Rodriguez, you do not want to get hit by him. And your bounce back fight, you do not want that to be against a guy like that who can absolutely floor you. But it makes sense as to where the rankings are. Like, it'd be a big jump for Rodriguez from where they're at. But dangerous fight for anybody. He's dangerous for that division.
He is very dangerous for that division, and I'm excited to see what the future holds for that guy, man. Not to say the fight went downhill from there, but we have Drew Dober, Michael Johnson. Sketchy betting on this one. I'd like to talk
what
about
happened with that
a little
bit. I'd like.
No one knows still. No one knows still.
But what made it sketchy? What was
you want to hear my perspective? You want to hear? So
what called people's
Michael Johnson was the favorite. Dober was plus 100.
Yeah.
In the span of 24 hours, Dober was minus 200. Michael Johnson was plus 190.
Okay, so what's your theory?
There is a group of, I don't want to say a group of, but there's quite a few people who love meme culture, right? And the meme on Drew Dober is he doesn't lose to certain fighters.
Is that what he was talking to Michael Johnson about? I did not understand that. I had never seen it, and I was like, something happened.
Because he floored King Green and he floored Terrence McKinney, and he's knocked out quite a few of those fighters.
Okay.
And usually his losses come to fighters who aren't like those fighters.
Okay.
I'm hoping the 10 viewers we have could read between the lines, right?
They're smart enough.
They should be smart enough. Well, they're watching this, so they might not be. Anyway.
Wow.
Jokes. I appreciate y'all. I think some people, probably on some Reddit strand or some Reddit thread, just dove heavily into, Dober's going to beat Michael Johnson because Michael Johnson is that, right? It might not have been that. It might have been one person because there are a few guys out there with a lot of money, with some questionable tactics to how they live, with some questionable ways that they present themselves online, that could have floated enough money to put on Dober because of the same meme that he beats these type
Mm.
of fighters. And that would be enough to shift the line. Didn't seem like there was an injury. Didn't seem like anything like that. Quite
Yeah.
honestly, it's a very similar way that Drew Dober has won a lot of these fights
Yeah.
against said fighters,
Okay.
where he either gets rocked or, the Michael Johnson, King Green, even Terrence McKinney have a moment and they're waiting for a second,
Mm-hmm.
and then he kind of figures out what's happening and drops him. I
Yeah.
will not lie. I was watching the line live. I was this close to firing off a live bet when Drew Dober was at plus 190 because he was losing the fight to Michael Johnson until he wasn't. So I don't think it was anything sketch. I just think it was a certain community playing into the meme. And they won a lot of money, which I mean, I don't think Dober has any ill intent. Seems like a great dude.
Yeah.
Michael Johnson echoed that effect.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just funny that sometimes memes and stuff online could kind of get a life of its own and play into it so much. Because, he shouldn't have to worry about that. He just goes in there and fights. He has knockouts against other fighters who are not like King Green, Terrence McKinney, and Michael Johnson. So.
Well, that is an unfortunate coincidence, given the outcome of this fight,
Quite
though.
the coinky dink. Quite the coinky dink. Because Michael Johnson was winning. Tagging him, looked fast.
So,
and then we just know that once he gets tagged, once Michael Johnson gets caught, it's usually stiff.
I saw him go up to Michael Johnson to talk about it, and I knew there was some kind of racial component to it. And I thought, I don't know if I should even say it. Drew Dober looks like a certain. He looks like someone who would be at protests.
I can read it.
You know what I'm saying?
I can read what you're saying.
I feel like so that's what I thought it was about. I thought there was something out there about that.
About his visual? Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah, and so that's what I thought. I thought it was something like that. I didn't know it was this other thing. Honestly, I didn't even know that he had the history of knocking out Terrence McKinney. I don't remember that. But the fight itself was actually a pretty good back and forth fight. Dober had some moments, and Michael Johnson had some moments. And I think the one that really made me see the end was near is when a dent got put on Michael Johnson's face. And I think it was Brett Okamoto that was calling it, or John Anik. John Anik was calling it.
Anik.
And he said, it looks like he's got a dent in his face. The other commentators didn't see it. And I'm like, it's clear as day. He's got a dent in his face that wasn't there. And I had to rewind it just to be like, did he have a dent before? No, he did not have a dent before. He literally dented his face. And then he threw the one that finished it. But I mean, it was a good shot. And I don't know if that one shot he hit it with changed it or not, but that's the one that gave me pause and think that Dober might have something for him, because before that it's pretty back and forth. Johnson was probably, I won't say
one-way traffic, but I definitely think Johnson was doing his.
Yeah, I was going to say Johnson might have been winning, but Dober did have a few moments there. It was still unclear how the fight would turn out in totality at that point, but I think Johnson was winning that fight. And I think that's probably the moment I think it changed some. I think he rocked him and then he finished him off. But it's weird because after he did, Johnson still looked like he was with it. So it didn't look like he was going down. So it was kind of a weird thing that happened in that fight. I've never seen somebody's face get dented like that. That was and it might not have been a dent so much as maybe he was clenching his jaw or something after he got hit. But it was still there, and Drew Dober walks away with a win. So feel bad for Michael Johnson because he was doing fine in that fight
again, man. He was doing his thing again, and just wasn't meant to be, I suppose.
Yeah.
Drew Dober, which I'll have a take. I feel like it'll line up a little bit with the back end of the card because we're getting there. But I think Drew Dober has potential to fight for, some fun fights necessarily.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd, there's obviously Michael Johnson before this took out Zell Huber.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you give Drew Dober, shoot, I don't even know at this point. I'd have to go look at the rankings, but you give him somebody in the top 15, maybe back end of the top 15.
I was actually
Because
thinking that. Yeah.
I think that's what they were saying. Like this fight was kind of like the Eliminator 4, is to kind of get back into that range, start fighting guys at the back half. You found a fighter. Go ahead and say it.
Put him against Michael Chandler. Call it a day. They're both lightweights. I know Michael Chandler's got a fight coming up, but
I was about to say one problem.
yeah, I know he's got a fight. Dario Banu, Dario Banu, Benil Dariush.
They already signed his death certificate
Did
too.
they?
Mm-hmm.
I missed that. Who?
They gave him Torres.
Oh, okay. What? Yeah. I don't. The only other person back there, well, I mean, unless you're going to go up as high as 10, I could see him and Moicano, but him and Fiziev would be a good fight.
He lost to Moicano by UD already too. I got one.
Who's that?
Connor. And I'll talk to you about how you do it, but we gotta wait till later in the card. But yeah,
yeah, they're probably both similar in age, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
At this point,
it's
big,
a fight
though.
style that works too.
Connor's big, but Dober's strong, so Dober might be able to handle that.
Mm-hmm.
Dober's, I don't think he's different than Chandler. Chandler's not the one who's, I'll go up to 170 to fight you. I think Dober probably knows that would probably be a disaster. I think you got to make McGregor come down if you're going to do that.
He ain't making it to 155 though.
I think you got to make him if you're Drew Dober, because if you're going up to fight McGregor.
Listen to what you're saying.
What am I saying?
Drew Dober is going to make Conor McGregor come to 155 for a fight.
Right. Yeah. But if you're going to take that fight, you only take it at 155.
Roger.
You only take it at 155.
No.
Although,
if you're Drew Dober,
I have belief that Drew Dober could win that fight at a higher weight. Because
if you're Drew Dober and they say you get to fight Conor and you're an active UFC fighter, here's my pitch to all active UFC fighters. If you're actively fighting and they come to you with a Conor McGregor fight, it could be Karjitsu. Have you seen the Karjitsu videos?
Yeah.
Go take it. Whatever fight they offer you to fight Conor McGregor, go take it because you will be well paid. It's very likely, in my opinion, that you win it.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's past the point of actually winning UFC fights.
Yeah.
If they offer you to fight him at flyweight, or they create super heavyweight and they let him come back off 10 cycles of juice, go fight Conor McGregor.
I think
because I don't think he has it anymore.
No,
and he wants his name to be relevant.
I don't think he has anymore. I do think he wants his name to be relevant. I do think he would relish the opportunity to be a weight bully. And
but I think he's not going to wrestle with you anyway.
I think Dober,
it's a speed factor as well.
If you offer Dober Conor McGregor, I think he would probably take it anywhere. But if you're seriously looking to want to get that win, you take it on the condition that he comes down.
Yeah, in a perfect world where you have bargaining power against Conor McGregor.
Yeah, and I see what you're saying, because he won't have
you bring it down to 155.
Bargaining power.
Yeah.
I think if you're McGregor and you're serious about it, you try to get down to 155, because you're not big enough for 170. You're not big enough for these guys at 170.
In the same competition. I mean, the same sentence. McGregor and serious.
I mean, at one point he was. At one point.
Yeah, but he doesn't need to be anymore. I'm not here to bash the man.
But I think he wants to be taken seriously.
I think he wants to be viewed in the same way he was viewed back then, when he doesn't need to be that type of guy anymore.
Yeah.
And I think the hunger obviously is gone. Shouts out to Floyd Mayweather. I think the consistency in the gym to prepare for challenges,
Probably
he
gone.
doesn't need to do
Yeah.
that anymore. I mean, he's still in there like training, but like for Drew Dober, it's not gonna
Yeah.
entice him enough. And it's dangerous enough where he's like, you know what I mean? He went in and weight bullied Cerrone already. That was a weight bully situation. He
Yeah.
knew that Cerrone was a smaller guy. He got him to
Smaller
come up and fight at
welterweight,
a
yeah.
heavier weight. Yeah. And then he bullied him and won. He kind of got what he was looking for out of that,
You think they'd
right?
offer that to Dober, though? I don't think Dober's a big enough name.
No, they'd probably want to offer Dober like, I don't know, man. I don't know what they want to offer Dober. He's exciting
He is
when
exciting,
he's
yeah.
in there. He's in there to throw, and he throws,
You make a meme
with
about
that
him beating
intent.
leprechauns or something, and maybe it'll get some eyes on him.
You're gonna need some more traction, man. You're gonna need some, you know what I mean? Unfortunately, there's a track record now that has
Yeah.
continued, that he has not beaten the allegations.
He
But
hasn't beaten the
he
allegations.
hasn't beaten the
He keeps
allegations.
winning the
He
fights, and he can't win.
he can't win. So, that's why I'm trying to give him a Connor, man. You know what I mean? At
Yeah.
least that one, you get paid heftily to
You would
go
get
beat on
paid heavy.
somebody who
Yeah, because
does not fit the allegations.
even now, a
Right?
Conor McGregor fight, he'll be like Mike Tyson in that he can come back in his 50s and people will still pay to watch that fight.
Pay to watch him fight
Yep.
something. Yeah, the name is big enough.
Yeah.
So congratulations to Dober for doing what he
Mm-hmm.
does, getting that win. Pretty big shining moment on the main card. Leads us into the next fight. Rob Font, Raul Rosas. I don't want to be mean because I'm not a grappling guy. This was disappointing. It was masterclass by Rosas in terms of strength and ability to switch positions, and ability to switch his hips, and ability to roll Rob Font and hang in there, and then Rob Font not really having enough legs on his strikes to really be
Yeah.
dangerous to Raul, because again, he implemented a very low, you're gonna have to work really hard to take me down stance,
Mm-hmm.
and it didn't even really work.
Correct.
And then Rosas was very focused on winning the fight, not necessarily showing the best side of him, in my opinion, in the fight. A lot of ground control, a lot of keeping Rob Font on the ground, going nowhere. Not really much submission attempts. He was just stronger. No matter what Rob Font did,
Yeah.
pin him up against the fence, pull him off the fence, lift him off the fence,
Mm-hmm.
put him down on four hands
Yeah.
and on two hands and two knees, put him on his back. That was all she wrote. Raul Rosas is a great grappler at this stage of his career for the age, strong for the division he's in. And that's it. I feel like there's not much else to write about that fight. What says you?
Raul Rosas has a firm foundation, I think, is what this fight showed. He didn't
Yep.
show anything flashy. He didn't show anything spectacular. There was nothing to wow you in this fight. It was just he came in there, he dominated Rob Font, and it was a boring fight that I wanted to look at my phone for. This was the fight where it did not hold my attention. And I'm a grappling guy. I like to grapple.
You are the grappling
I
guy.
like
Yeah.
to watch grappling. It's a hard fight to watch. Just not much happening except Rosas just absolutely controlling Rob Font. And I didn't really see anything to hold my attention as a viewer. So if I'm going just as a viewer, this was a boring fight. If I'm looking at it in terms of career-wise, it knocks Rob Font down a little bit. It takes Rosas up. And so he's ready for the ranked opponents, which I think Font was ranked at the time. So he's
Yeah.
ready to be ranked himself and to be making waves in that division. top 10 opponent next, I think. Don't have anybody in mind, but a top 10 opponent.
I don't like it.
You don't think he's ready for it?
No,
I mean,
I do not. I
I'm
think
not
Chili
saying
Beast
top of the
has a
division.
lot to prove still.
He does.
I Yeah,
He does, but I mean, if you look in that division, who else are you going to put in front of him? You know, to keep him out from fighting a number 10 guy. You know, he's there to where that's where the competition is for where he's at. I think.
that's true.
Um, so
That's true.
if the competition, if you're beating guys that are ranked 13, then let's see, where you go. Your trajectory is clearly up. And
It is.
if your trajectory is up, you're in the bantamweight division. I mean, there's a Peyton Talbot out there who's a young star. There's
Mm,
he's at 11. Marlon Vera
mhm.
is up there at number 10. Um, so and then
I wouldn't
Vinicius
mind seeing
Oliveira
him
coming
versus
off of a
Marlon Vera.
loss.
I wouldn't mind seeing him against Marlon
Yeah.
Vera. Um, all those guys you listed are pretty good matchups for him. Um, yeah, actually, I think he'd be favored in 2 out of 3 of those fights.
Who do you think he wouldn't be favored against? Vinicius?
Yeah, I think he'd be favored in 2 or 3 out of those fights. Um, yeah, I guess when you put it that way, I'll lean to your side. I just don't love what I saw as a prospect. I feel like you get in there and you get a win, which will become the common theme of the pod. Is you get in there, you get the win, you get out. Once we get to the BMF fight, we'll talk about that as well.
Yeah.
I just when you're that much of an advantage on the ground, I want to see you do something with it. It's the
Mm-hmm.
same thing I said with Sumbadershi. When you're that much of an advantage striking wise,
Yeah.
why not go for broke a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
And Rob Font was putting him in bad positions on the ground as well. I think that's why, and I think that's another reason I have reason to pause. Is like maybe you weren't that big of an advantage. You just stronger and more
Mm-hmm.
technical and defensive
Yeah.
grappling. That you're getting yourself in good offensive positions, but your goal is not to utilize that.
Yeah.
When you see a Charles different style, one is wrestling, one
Mm-hmm.
is obviously Brazilian jiu-jitsu, right? Charles is like a anaconda.
Mm-hmm.
He eats space up and he's trying to find a way to squeeze you.
Yeah.
Not much defensive on there. When he gets on top or on the bottom or on your back, he's looking to make you as uncomfortable as possible and get you out of there.
Yeah.
Unfortunately with Raul, I feel like we're just having a really intimate moment. We're getting to know each other when we wrestle.
Whispering
Like,
sweet nothings.
like, what are we doing? I mean, I get it. He's winning. The control time equals the same. 20 minutes of Charles Oliveira control time and 20 minutes of Raul Rosas
Different.
is
They look different.
technically viewed the same on the scorecards, but visually
And
while you're in there,
mm-hmm.
it's different.
That is something that
So,
hit me even just now with us talking about it, is they
mhm.
do prop up control time in MMA and
Yeah.
the scoring. Control time is different depending on who the fighter is. And there is a way, like, because you're trying to watch when we talk about, redoing the scoring at MMA, this is one thing that I think should be redone, because it is
Mhm.
true that if I can hold you down, you can't hurt me, right? If you're judging self-defense, that's a good strategy. If
Yeah.
I can hold you down and you can't hurt me, then I'm winning that situation.
Mhm.
But if I'm on bottom in wrestling, you're not scoring any back points. I'm not able to reverse you. I'm not able to get up, but you're on top and I'm on bottom. In college wrestling, they count that. In high school wrestling, they don't count that. You don't get points for just riding a guy out. They call it ride time, right? You don't get any ride time in high school. And when you're wrestling, you're doing 0 damage. You're just on top of the guy. So we have a few different examples of different sports that judge ride time differently or control time differently.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're fighting and you're trying to build a scoring system on who wins a fight, I think damage needs to play a role in your control time. I think there should be a limit if you're making it sport and less self-defense, less, animalistic fighting. Because remember, we don't let them just grab the cage and punch in the back of the head. But if you're wanting it to be a sport, control time with no further action should be stood up. And
Okay.
if your whole thing is, I'm just going to hold you to the ground and I'm not going to do further damage, I'm not really going to try to submit you, and I'm not really going to try to land strikes that hurt you, just stand them up because you want them to
It's such a
fight.
great space, though. It's such a
It
great
is
space because even as
because
a
you're
guy who
winning.
doesn't love
The
grappling,
guy can't get up. He can't get you
yeah,
off of him. So from that perspective, like, I see what you're saying. But you're dealing with it as a sport now, as opposed to like a fight. If it like a street fight. If you're talking about a street fight and self-defense, that control time is good. Because, on the street, if you don't have somebody
hmm
that's going to pull you off of them, then you're just stuck there and the guy can do whatever he wants to you or just hold you there. Right?
yeah,
You don't want to be that person not controlled. But if you're in a fight, like, yeah, pull them off of them. Get them standing up. Get them. But
because you'd argue like
if you're gonna put rules on it, put rules on it.
put rules on
You
it.
know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Put rules on it that make it entertaining, that make it something people wanna watch because you're shaping your product to be a certain thing. If you want it to be like a street, let them grab the cage, let them hit in the back of the head, let them do everything. But if you're not gonna let them do that and you're gonna put rules on it, put rules on it that make people wanna watch.
it's the argument of like they're working technically while they're on the ground, right? And it only takes one mistake
Yeah,
to find yourself
yeah,
in a submission attempt, or it only takes one mistake to find yourself
yeah, and that's true for top and
potentially
bottom in that
on ground and
position.
pound.
Yeah.
Exactly. So like, yeah, I'm on, of the opportunity where you say break him up, but like, how do you judge that? Like when Jonathan was on top of Volkov, no need to judge that. He was just laying
Well,
there.
and that's kinda what I'm
He
saying.
wasn't
You have to
working.
get
Yeah,
parameters for somebody like that.
him. But like Rosas was working, but Rob Font also was making sure that not enough was happening for him to keep working.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was a dual effort in intimacy,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
laying there.
Installing a
You
little
know,
bit.
it took
There
two to get to the point where I'm looking at the fight like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Right? But Rule makes it out with the win. He's ranked probably as of recording. And you're right, those fights you listed are good matchups. If I'm Vinicius, give me Raul Rosas.
Mm, mhm.
Because I can steal some of that shine.
Yep. And you need it.
And on the feet, psh, yeah, I think Raul would fall into the trap of trying to
Mhm.
out pressure Vinicius, and I think he'd get caught with something.
Yeah.
But yeah, give me that fight. I like that fight a lot. This next one, very very odd fight for me. Kaio
Mhm.
versus RDR. I
Yeah.
had RDR by decision in the preview.
Right.
Um, RDR looks terrible throwing his hands.
Yeah.
Um, I didn't remember it looking that bad against Robert Whitaker.
He didn't seem to be doing any damage when he would throw
No,
his
well,
hands.
no. I mean, he had moments, but like, what happened to the RDR I saw against Robert Whitaker? What happened to that guy? Have you watched Space Jam?
It's been a not the new one,
Yeah, I didn't
the
watch the new one
old
either.
one
Don't
a
worry. I
long
only
time ago.
yeah, the Michael Jordan one,
Mhm.
where like obviously the premise they touch the basketball and then all their powers go away, and the monsters take their powers.
Mhm.
Somebody showed up for RDR because he has never been a great striker. But what was I watching in there? He looked awkward.
He did.
He looked like he just learned to walk. It looked like if I woke up this morning and I was 6'4". I wouldn't understand how to like operate my
Yeah,
limbs. I'm
it'd be
not
different.
6'4". Exactly. So that's what it looked like to me in there. Like he had just got, like they just put him in this body and said, "Look, you're a UFC fighter,
Yeah.
right?" Like the premise of a movie, like Freaky Friday, but Amal woke up as RDR and
Hmm.
RDR woke up as Amal. Now RDR got to go do what Amal does on a daily basis, and Amal had to go fight Caio Barrio. And the striking looked awkward.
Yeah,
And the worst part is, if it was a little bit more crisp, he probably pulls this one out. Because
true.
Caio, though he won, I wasn't overly impressed. I don't think the execution on his part was effective. I thought he fought with his hands down because
Mhm.
he didn't feel danger in those strikes
No,
coming back.
he didn't.
But I also think he was tired. I think RDR worked him a little bit
Hmm.
in the grapples. I think RDR is heavy. He's like a heavy blanket, a
He does
heavy
when
6'4"
yeah,
blanket,
yeah.
and he weighs on you. And Caio won the stand up exchanges when they did exchange,
Hmm.
and he popped RDR with some shots, and RDR didn't go anywhere. And I think that also made him a little bit hesitant to be like, "Oh my gosh, like I am cracking him, and he's in front of me." Something we could reference later once we get to that White House card, right?
Yeah.
I'm cracking him, and he's in front of me, and he's not going anywhere. So that probably weighed on the mental a little bit too. Um, Kaya wasn't overly technical.
No.
Um,
Though a little more technical than it looked like, I think.
oh no, for sure. I'm not. I think he fought a smart fight. I'm just saying, like, based on the speed advantage,
Hmm.
the striking advantage, that was the clear way to get somebody like RDR out of there.
Yeah.
Um, you figured there'd be a power advantage.
Yeah.
Maybe RDR is just very durable because of how awkward and um off center he is,
Yeah.
and I don't think it's if it's on purpose. Give him his own martial art practice name, right? You know how they have the drunken master.
Yeah.
There should be like the RDR wobble or something, because he's off center and he's not on the center line to get punched.
You're right.
But it looks like, again, he's just learning how to use his limbs. Like
Yeah.
they're just out there wobbling and he's stepping and sliding, and I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to think of it. And RDR did lose the fight,
Yeah. I thought so.
but we're 2 good strikes and some more control time away from him stealing this by decision.
Yeah.
So if I'm Kaio, I'm going back to the drawing board. Um, I'm working on my cardio a little bit because I think
Hmm.
he did get fatigued in there.
Yeah.
Again, wearing a 6'4" blanket that's probably close to 200 pounds will do that.
No, he's probably closer to 210,
Yeah,
215.
he's heavy in there,
Yeah.
right? Um, but I don't know, when you're that clear advantage on the feet,
Yeah.
maybe a little bit more technical striking on maybe working the body a little bit. I don't know. I just feel like I watched a very awkward fight, and yeah, congratulations to you, I guess.
Yeah.
Like you didn't impress me, and with who's up there, like Strickland's definitely got a better path to a fight before you do.
Hmm.
Imavov is clearly up there, and I feel like if you went out there and you floored somebody like RDR, we would have to argue a
Yeah.
little bit more about where your positioning is.
Yeah.
I think his self-awareness is great. He called out DDP.
I'd like to see
It's a
that
good
fight.
matchup. That's a good matchup for him to call out. Because if he goes out there and wins that, even if it's in a very similar awkward fashion, at least then you have a former champ that you're,
Yeah.
hanging your hat on. But
Yeah.
um, I think that there's just a lot of growth needed for Kaio out of this one, and
Hmm.
RDR just, again, I don't know what I'm looking at. I don't know which version I'm gonna get
Yeah.
from fight to fight. So
I think Kaio has had the speed advantage. He had the power advantage. Um, he looked like he was confident that he could crush the world. Um, he fought a lot like Vinicius Oliveira.
hmm
Um, hands down, jumping in with just his head right up there to be hit, and DeRitter just couldn't seem to land enough on there. I do think you're right. Just a few more shots, and this fight does go the other way. Um, but I don't know, credit it to speed getting out or getting in and out or something. But he did enough to win. He did. I thought he solidly won the fight. I'd like to see him when you're talking about going up. DDPL is a good call out for him, or DDPL. Dricus Duplessis is a good call out for him, but I don't know that Dricus takes that fight. I think it would be actually probably one of the better fights he could take right now. I think Strickland beats Kaio every day they fight.
I think Strickland finishes Kaio.
Imavov and Kaio actually had a pretty close fight, but Imavov won. You know, he was in control, but it was pretty close. Um, Brendan Allen or Anthony Hernandez would both be good fights for him. So there's fights to make for him. The call out was he went the highest he could possibly go and be taken serious. So nobody's going to give him
I'm not
Chimaev
mad at
right
that.
now. There's too many people up there. Imavov and Strickland, like he went kind of above them because Dricus is ranked above
Hmm.
them, but he doesn't want any part of either one of them two right now because I don't think he wins any of those fights. So um, the other three up there, unless he wants to go fight Izzy. But doesn't Izzy have a fight lined up?
Pfeiffer.
Yeah. So
End of this month, Pfeiffer. Yeah.
um, Anthony Hernandez, Brendan Allen, Dricus,
I mean,
all,
if Pfeiffer wins,
yeah,
there's Pfeiffer Kaio,
that'd be a
but
good
that's
fight.
not good for Kaio.
I don't know. Because I don't know that I want to see what he does because I don't know if I believe in Pfeiffer to be at that level yet.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying that he's gonna lose. I'm saying like, what's the risk reward for Kaio to fight Pfeiffer?
Oh yeah.
That's
Well, he'll
that's
be
more my
ranked ahead of him
perspective.
if he beats Izzy, I think he jumps him in the rankings.
Really,
Well, maybe not because Pfeiffer's all the way down at 14.
that's what I'm
But
saying. That's a high jump.
Izzy's in front of him. So if he beats Izzy,
He could take, yeah, he could take Izzy's ranking
he,
if that's the case. But then we're not. Unfortunately, for better or worse, the rankings don't really matter.
yeah, that's true. That's true. They matter to an
Like
extent, but there's an extent.
generally, like I'm supposed to get this if I'm ranked ahead of you. That's not how it's shaken up for a while, but definitely not now.
Yeah.
Um, we open up the Paramount era with two guys who had no business fighting for an interim,
Yeah.
right? So it's all about storyline to a certain extent.
Yeah.
It's about execution when you're in there. If Pfeiffer goes in there and flatlines Izzy, he could get that Imavov treatment of rocketeering pretty far up,
Mm-hmm.
you know, past somebody who had beaten him,
Mm-hmm.
like Sean Strickland, right? So Pfeiffer floors Izzy, Kaio could take that fight, but I feel like it's just extra risk for not much reward.
Yeah.
The only reason I would entertain that for him is he didn't look good in this one,
Yeah.
in my opinion. As someone just watching, it was not a masterclass of any sense of the word, and maybe you could go in there with a Pfeiffer who's a little bit more in front of you,
Mm-hmm.
who's not gonna get out of your way, and maybe you're in there to really either have a trade of blows for 3 straight rounds, and that could be an exciting thing that people see, or maybe you drop him.
Yeah.
And if you knock out a top 5 guy in a spectacular fashion, you know,
Mm-hmm.
that's a storyline. So
Yeah.
that's it. It's risky. And we're talking like Izzy's already dead. If Izzy beats Pfeiffer,
Yeah.
then Kaio and Izzy is a great matchup to make.
Yeah.
At that point.
And
So
it's kind of weird because, you know, if you took Kaio right now, but Izzy 3 years ago, that's not even
yeah.
a fight.
No, he
But
walks him.
today,
Paulo Costa part 2.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Easy.
Yeah.
Just easy work. But today it's a very different Izzy.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go to the main card. What was your take on this? Because there's been quite a few angles that you come at this fight from, right? When I say main card, I mean main event.
Yeah.
Holloway versus Charles the Bronx Oliveira for the BMF. 5-round fight. Goes to decision. 20 minutes, 39 seconds of control time for Oliveira.
Mm-hmm.
That's all she wrote. 50-45. What was your take on this fight?
It's gonna sound contradictory to what I said earlier, but it's not. Um, BMF fight, people want to see them throw hands, but it's not the throw hands title. It's I'll take any fight any day, and I'm gonna go in there to win that fight. I think Charles has shown that he'll fight anybody. You know, he's fought all of the top guys. He doesn't. I don't know, and maybe you can remind me, but I don't know of any time I've seen him run from a fight. Um, you know he's heavy grappling when he goes in there. You know he's entertaining grappler when he goes in there. Um, I did not expect him to be so much bigger than Max Holloway. I've never seen Charles Oliveira look big against anybody. He looked huge compared to Max Holloway. Holloway looked like he should have been a featherweight. He did not look like he was a lightweight at all. Oliveira looked more muscular. He looked thicker. He looked taller. And he went in there and looked like he had been in Dagestan for 2 or 3 years. He got a body lock on him, just like the Dagestan wrestlers do. And he just put him down. I don't think you have to wonder anymore what would have happened had Khabib and Max fought when they were supposed to fight, when they had to pull Max. I think you're looking at it. That was this fight. Except it would have been worse. It didn't look like Max had any answer for grappling at that high of a level. And you look at Volk, not a heavy grappler. You look at Aldo, even though he's been a black belt in jiu-jitsu for years, by the time they fought, he never fights implementing it hardly. You don't see Max fight a lot of grapplers at that level. And when he's challenged with Oliveira, I think it showed a huge hole in his game. And we know Oliveira is good, but he's been beaten in grappling before at that weight class. I did not have a problem with a BMF title fight that was heavy on the grappling when it was that type of grappling, where it was constantly on the move, constantly trying submissions. Max wouldn't give up, to his credit. He showed why he is seen to have that heart. And I thought it was, you know, if it's MMA and it's fighting and it's supposed to be representing the guy who will take a fight at any time, anywhere, I think Charles fighting the way he did is just fine. He completely dominated him. You had probably 3 or 4 slams in the fight. Like, how many people are slamming people, right? So, but it wasn't appreciated because they weren't throwing hands. And when they did throw hands, Oliveira rocked him.
He did.
It was what, all of 45 seconds in the whole fight where they were really throwing hands. But did you see last week, one of these weeks we talked about Brunez, who had the body lock on Chiro, and he coming down with the elbows on the back. Charles Oliveira did this.
Charles took it.
Charles did that in this fight. Now, I can't say it's because I said on the podcast that it would be a big thing.
Hurts,
but it definitely was used by Charles. I'm just saying.
It was.
What's your take on it? Because I thought it was fine. I know you're one who likes to see people throw hands. It was started by Nate Diaz and Masvidal, who are big at let's go in there and throw hands. When they booked this fight, we know Charles Oliveira is not going to stay away from the grappling. So I've laid out my reasons.
Do we know that?
I mean, yeah, he's even if he gets rocked, even if it starts on the feet, if it goes to the ground, he's not going to try to pop back up and not grapple. He's going to grapple. But I laid out my reasons.
He throws punches, though.
He does throw punches, yeah.
Except for pretty much the punch belt.
I mean, but that's the thing. Is it the punch belt? I
mean, I'll give you my take on it.
Yeah, right? I was going to say, I've laid out mine. Let's see. What is your take?
In the world of titles that don't mean a darn thing, it's an imaginary belt.
Yeah.
It doesn't hold a weight class. It doesn't hold any sets of like, you know, oh, this person's a contender for this belt. You could just pull somebody off the street and be like, I want to fight him to defend my BMF belt. This belt has no inclining like that. It's literally set up and marketed as fights that will result in what Max Gaethje was. In what didn't Poirier and Gaethje fight for it too when he head kicked?
Yep.
Right? You sensing the theme here? Masvidal, Nate Diaz, right? They give me an imaginary belt with a theme that I already didn't freaking want. I didn't want it.
Right.
I didn't want the imaginary belt. Vegas charts this fight plus 190 Oliveira, minus 220 Max Holloway. You know why Vegas charts this fight that way? Not because of the gap in skill. Because when a belt is marketed a certain way for a certain fight style, and that's what they're supposed to go in there and do, allegedly, right? That's how it's seen to play out. Now, we both know the grappling advantage is crazily in favor of Charles.
And we should have seen this before the fight. I'll tell you after you're done.
But I watched Charles run on the end of Top's fist because he wanted to prove something in something that wasn't a BMF fight.
So he learned his lesson.
That's the one where you should have been locking in and being the grappling aficionado that you are, right? Yep. I think Top shook him a little bit because he did try to get Top on the ground. Immediately popped right back up. He was like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
This was the plan. What else do I do? I guess I got to trade with him.
Yeah.
Right? So we get in here and he's substantially bigger than Max.
Yeah.
You're right. I got frustrated with the stream as well because I had to watch the last 2 rounds in Spanish because the stream cut out in the back end of the second and I couldn't get back on unless I was in a different language. Paramount. Paramount. Don't let me go back to my always Paramount. Okay? I'm going to find a way to watch the fight. And I want to watch it in English. And I want it to be with you, Paramount. So I'm going to say, don't let me try to find the fight and it not be on Paramount. Because I should have been able to just watch the thing in English the whole time. It eventually came back on. At that point, I didn't even have enough energy to lean forward, pick the controller up, and put it back on English. Because it's the same thing. You could have ran all the rounds back and just removed the ticker and be like, is this all one continuous round?
Yeah.
It was like rinse and repeat. I hated it for what the belt is supposed to represent, allegedly, right? If this was just a title eliminator or a contender fight for potentially who's fighting for it, masterclass by Charles. Yeah. Amazing by Charles, right? I enjoyed watching the fight in a vacuum. I think it was a great fight.
Yeah.
You gave me an imaginary belt. It told me it meant something.
Yeah.
And put people in there with the whole premise that this is what it was. You didn't have to do that.
Right.
Right? And it is mixed martial arts. So you can't tell a guy, hey, look, I know you're probably a top 3 grappler in the world. Don't use none of that. Just go in there and punch. Right? You can't do that. But what you can tell that guy is like, okay, you're probably going to get maxed on the ground. If you can't finish him, work on the top control. You know, maybe try to cut him, you know, do damage. This is a fight about activity and damage. You can't coach people in how to fight, but at this point, if it's going to be WWE and we're going to have Intercontinental and the spinny belt that John Cena wears, and it just becomes hilarious, and we have a BMF belt, again, that travels weight classes and no reason and no rankings, I expect an exciting fight, even if it's to the detriment of the person who is a grappling specialist, right? And maybe that's on the UFC, right? Maybe that's on the UFC.
I think it's completely
to know their
on
personnel, to know their personnel, right? And they look at Max Holloway, and no matter what, you don't put him in that fight for the BMF. They could have very well still fought. Shoot, you could have saved it for the White House card and had him just fight a regular fight and give Max a puncher.
Yeah.
That kind of sets up for a good fight.
Mm-hmm.
Matchmaking, right? That's part of what Dana gets paid for, right?
Yeah.
Is to create the right matches. I think we kind of dropped the ball on this one, and I'm not going to solely put it on Charles. That's my thing. I just think I got a good fight, but not what was marketed to me. That's okay. Sometimes, you buy a product, you buy it, and you're like, it's good.
Mm-hmm.
It's not what I expected. And that's kind of how I felt about it. I think Charles definitely put himself back in the mix against Top, and well, actually, what I think should happen is Charles v. Sarukian too.
I would be interested in that fight.
But I think Sarukian wearing the handcuffs, he doesn't realize how cuffed he is. He wore the handcuffs in the thing as like a joke. Like when they were going through the crowd, he was wearing handcuffs in the crowd. As like, but little does he know, I don't know who they're going to give Sarukian next, and he might not like the results of that. He is getting no favors there.
No, and he keeps wrestling, and he just got another.
He's getting the rematch against the guy that he just punched in the face.
Yeah, but he's going to get somebody else too. Oh man,
He's staying active.
He's staying
like
super active. But I mean, can you really blame him? Because
those don't really involve cuts though, and he's not getting anything from this side. Like they're
not giving him anything.
So that was my take. Great fight. Wrong setting.
Let's see. I'm trying to see who it is that he's 29 years old.
Still young. Very young.
Dana White said 16 hours ago that he's not thrilled with Arman Sarukian, and that was a headline.
Yeah.
The rematch. Oh, man. I don't know if I can find it.
Outside of the rematch?
Yeah.
I mean, the good part about it is there's not a big weight cut for a lot of these guys for that RAF promotion. That's like the big thing they're hanging their hat on as well. Guys fighting closer to their natural weight, right?
Yeah.
So he's not hurting himself in that regard. But the potential damage he could do in those matchups, though less risky, still not good for UFC career. But he's got to do something to stay active, right? He's got to stay busy in some way.
I don't know if
you
that's
found
true.
It? You think it's a rumor?
It might be a rumor. Let me see, though. Yeah, I actually like it. I like it for the fighters to be able to stay competitive in that. Yeah, 2 days ago, Muhammad Makayev versus Sarukian, September 19th.
Dang, I think he's doing the rematch before that then, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, it's not the next one, but it's in a main event of Hype Fighting, which I think is in Rio de Janeiro.
Dang.
Yeah. So I don't know anything about them. I'm assuming they're wrestling. It's
Or
submission
grappling or
only, and it'll be live on Thriller TV. It shows.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
There's a couple people on that. I feel like Shara.
now this is showing March 11th.
I think Shara Bullet is fighting somebody too.
Yeah.
In that same thing.
Okay. March 11th is what it's showing. I don't know where I got the September date. So that's interesting. So he's staying active. I mean, yeah. But what I was going to say about Max, do you remember Conor McGregor coming up? Conor
Yeah.
McGregor had to sit out because he hurt his leg. Do you remember
Mhm.
this? It happened early in his career. It happened during the Max Holloway fight when he was out grappling Max Holloway. And if Conor McGregor is out grappling you, there's an issue. And you can go through fights that Holloway has had and look through them, and very little grapplers. Very little grapplers. We should have seen this coming, and we just didn't really dig into it. I think we fell in love with Max's hands, and we didn't look at the fact that Max is going to fight somebody who is a heavy grappler. We should have seen this coming. Um, because not only did
So
McGregor win that grappling exchange in that, he also went on to win the fight after he hurt his knee. He kept fighting with him and kept grappling
so
with him.
here's where I think I overlooked it. We talk about Max and his style of fighting and how there was a lot of stock put into him at 155
Mhm.
in that move, but he doesn't necessarily have punching power at 155, like people say.
Right.
Outside of a last 10-second exchange with Gaethje, where he literally just wore on Gaethje with his punches over 5 rounds, right?
Mhm.
He's not dropping people consistently at 155. It's actually doing quite a bit of damage.
Yeah.
Now, the people who Charles has eventually submitted or like gotten dropped by, they do have that punching power. Gaethje sat Charles down, and then I think Charles wrapped him up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think even Chandler dropped Charles,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
those guys punch hard
Yeah.
and are natural 155ers who walk around heavier than that. Where I think Charles approached the fight is that he knew he would be bigger. He knows that Max's skill set builds over time.
Mhm.
If you get in there quick
Yeah.
and just sap any opportunity for him to get ahead off of volume, you're the bigger guy. You probably could hit him harder. You probably don't have to worry about what's coming back because,
Right.
again, you fought dudes who hit way harder than
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
You could stay in that pocket, just make sure you're not on the outside getting pitter pattered to the point where the smallest thing will drop you.
Mhm.
I didn't predict it going that way.
Yeah.
But when you look at it back now, hindsight, of course, it
Mhm.
makes sense.
Yeah.
But another reason why I didn't look at it that way
It's because how it was marketed.
is because it's the dang BMF belt. That's why I didn't look at it that way. Because they're supposed to stand
Bro,
and fight.
I saw the
And,
odds on
and that's what they were showing.
how many punches were going to be exchanged and total strike numbers and all that stuff. I was like, a BMF fight? Max Holloway? Oh, yeah, he's going over all of those. No, he's not.
Over 78.5 is where they had the significant striking at, which is where I probably should have seen the red flag.
Yeah.
The 78.5 is 2 rounds for Max.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But they also had Max by finish early,
Yeah.
which
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
fishy. We said that over and over again. I had this fight going 4 to 5 rounds. Best case scenario, he ends him after the third.
Yeah.
But I definitely had it going deep.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought it would have been on the feet.
Yeah. If the fight stays on the feet.
Just because of the marketing.
Um,
Not just because of the marketing. I also like Max. But that was a big draw. The BMF belt, right?
Yeah.
I didn't think it would get into that type of exchange. Max hasn't been brought down that much in his career either. But guess what? Max has been fighting light guys.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, he did
Featherweights.
look faster. His punches
Yeah.
didn't seem to be doing the damage, but he did
No.
look faster. He was able to get in and out without getting tagged until that last 10 seconds of the fight, you know?
Yeah.
But Charles I'm very hesitant to jump on a Charles Oliveira bandwagon at this point in his career with how well he looked in this fight, because I don't remember him ever looking that big against anybody else he fought. He didn't look that big against
Gamrod or
even Topuria. He didn't look that
Yeah.
big. And Max is taller than
Fiziev.
Topuria.
Yeah.
He just looked a lot bigger. And I don't know if he figured out a way to, after he weighs in, to maybe rehydrate or what, but he looked massive. It maybe Holloway's just not that big.
I mean, we know he wasn't
we know
that
he's
big,
skinny, but
yeah.
he just did not look like they did not look like they belong in the same weight class. And
No.
so I'm hesitant, being that I've never seen him look that big against anybody else and manhandle somebody else quite like that. It does look like he learned that new technique of the body lock and has implemented it extremely well. So I'd be curious to see what he does with that. But
I just think there's levels though. Like I feel
yeah.
like it's tough. Um, he makes it sound like he's righted some of the things he did wrong in that initial Superior fight to correct that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I don't know when there'll be an opportunity for him to get a stab at Superior again with everything that's been announced, you know?
Yeah.
Which I feel like we could go into the White House card a bit
Yeah.
now, to kind of close out. They officially announced it.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
All the
initial thoughts, I was
excitement.
underwhelmed. I think there's good fights on there, but you're
Underwhelmed?
selling me Kyle Daukus and Bo Nickel, which is not a bad fight.
No.
That's not a Freedom 250 card fight.
Yeah.
Sean O'Malley, we talked about him being self-deprecating and acting like there'd be no way he'd be on the card. Lo and behold, here he is.
Mm-hmm.
Fighting Zahabi. I thought that was a good fight. I didn't think it was for this card.
Yeah.
It was him versus Corey Sandhagen for this card.
You know what?
Is what I would have made.
Can I interrupt you for a second? Because I just
Yes.
saw this when I looked it up.
Yeah.
They call it the Freedom 250 fight. They're not giving it a
Yeah.
number. It's listed here as
Yeah.
a fight night.
It makes sense because it's not numbered.
It does.
Yeah.
But any of these. All right, go ahead. And we'll.
I mean, they seem like fight night headliners.
Yeah,
all
of
in
them.
a row.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
They all seem like fight night headliners.
Yeah.
Except for, I think, the Gaethje.
The top two.
The top two would be number card headliners.
Well, interim heavyweight probably would usually be a fight night headliner too, but one name is so massive on one side.
Yeah.
Cyril Gane does deserve to be headlining fight nights.
Yeah.
But yeah, you sell me those, and I have a few takes on the White House card too.
Mhm.
The amount of fights are a little bit low,
Right.
but I feel like the more things you add into the mix, the more clearance you have to get. So I feel like in terms of like adding fights or supplementing the card a little bit might be out of the question, because I feel like a lot of this stuff has to go through a ton of clearance,
Yeah.
and I don't know if they're gonna have enough time to get everybody fully cleared, teams, all of that to the mix if you just start adding people on the back
Right.
end of it. Because there are fights I'd like to add to the back end of it to make it better. We'll do that as a separate pod, though. Let's just talk about what's here. So we said Kyle Daukus, Bo Nickel, Sugar Sean, Zahabi, Michael Chandler, Mauricio Ruffy.
Same.
Like, I guess that's your ode to Michael Chandler, to like, sorry that you waited this entire time. Here's a fight at the White House. Top Gaethje headlining, Pereira versus Gane as a second headliner. Oh my gosh. This is not a football podcast, but Kenneth Walker just signed with the Chiefs.
Oh, yeah?
Oh my goodness. Anyway, yeah, it just popped up as I was looking at the card online, and that's crazy. Anyway, Lopez Garcia for Lopez's featherweight debut.
To me, that's
That's
the
not
most
a bad
exciting
fight
fight on here.
That's exciting too.
That is my. I know it's not under the radar. Like, this is my fight of the night contender. Like, ahead of time. If I'm looking at it, I think this is the most competitive fight on the card.
Now, here's the part I want to post to you. I want to post to you as somebody who watches UFC.
Mhm.
Dana White getting interviewed because Zuffa Boxing is having an event this week as well.
Yeah.
Superior was not on this card before Thursday.
Okay.
That's what he said. He had to call Superior and Gaethje on Thursday because they lost the fight.
Right.
They won't come out and say what the fight that they lost was.
Right. Speculate
But
wildly.
what was the headliner if the replacement fight became the headliner? Because that doesn't bode well to me. Because what I think I was about to get was Pereira Vigan as the headliner, and then the co-main was gonna be something even more underwhelming. And you lost that, and the only way you could sell top on a short notice fight against Gaethje is to give him the headliner at the White House to save the White House card. That's my perspective, because everything Gaethje said is he didn't know where he was going to be on the card. They called him late. That he knew he was going to be on the card. He just didn't know if it was headliner. So I
Taporia did.
think Gaethje didn't know that part.
No, Gaethje didn't know he was going to be.
Gaethje knew
He'd be
he
on
was
the
going to be
card.
on the card, like I think midweek,
Mhm.
because of a call that was made to him, I guess.
But he didn't
But he
know it
didn't
was
know where
against
he was
Tom.
going to be positioned on the card.
And he didn't know it was
Now,
Taporia.
no. So what I think,
But Taporia found out Thursday or after.
Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think they sold Taporia on that, unless there's a ton of lying going on, which is very possible. And Islam was supposed to be on top of the card against Taporia or something like that, and Islam fell out. Or John Jones was right. He was supposed to be on the card fighting Alex Pereira at the White House. Frustration happened. They pulled talks with him. They had to pivot really quickly. But nobody's coming out and being honest about this. But the only thing I'm thinking about is this is potentially the biggest, not potentially, this would be the biggest event to happen in the UFC's history. This would be one of the biggest sporting events to happen, just due to holding a event of that magnitude on the White House lawn. And it feels like it's being fluffed. Like they're missing the boat. That they're trying and things just aren't going over as smoothly as you'd hope for an event of this magnitude. This, I guess, close up to, because it's in June, which you did say it wasn't going to be July 4th, which is also crazy. But go ahead.
Justin Gaethje was going to be on the card, assuming all of that is correct.
I don't remember the time he said, but he said for sure that he was going to be on the card.
Assuming everything you just said is correct, and that Taporia did not know he would be on this fight. For one, it wouldn't be last minute because we're talking all the way in June, so they've got plenty of time to do a fight camp.
Mm-hmm.
The Gaethje was going to be on it, didn't know if he was headlining. If Gaethje's on it defending his belt, I'm looking through the rankings. You know they're not giving it to Sarukian. Oliveira's got a fight in 3 days. Max has a fight in 3 days. Maybe you're putting Benoit Saint Denis because he's already fought Patty. You'd have to go all the way down to Gamrot or Dan Hooker.
Unless Gaethje just didn't say the timeline of when he knew he was on the card, and he also found out on Thursday.
I mean,
which if you were gonna go over not having anybody from that, if you didn't have that belt matchup and you were gonna roll out this UFC fight night on the White House lawn with just one belt matchup and it's an interim belt matchup, that would be even crazier, no?
okay. Well, no, because they've already taken that off the table. All right. Gaethje was going to fight Benoit Saint Denis lower down on the fight.
Yeah.
Sean Strickland was going to fight Khamzat Chimaev, and they couldn't get his passport. He won't get cleared. So Chimaev can't fight. Pereira and Gane were going to fight. Chimaev couldn't fight. They threw Top in there to save the card because they weren't going to have a middleweight title fight. This was going to be Chimaev's chance to come in and defend his title and make the case
Mhm.
that he deserves the light heavyweight shot next.
No Russians on the card either, so maybe it was going to be Peter Yan versus Sean O'Malley. And maybe they're like, oh my
Which
gosh,
is why you're getting
Zahabi versus Sean
Zahabi
O'Malley.
versus Sean O'Malley. So Piotr Yan could have been the one because Piotr Yan was playing coy about being on the card possibly.
Mm-hmm. I just think with, the temperature right now,
I think a Russian pulled
they
out
probably kept the Russians out of it.
or they came with something political and said, hey, we can't be seen
On the White House lawn,
on the White House lawn
fighting for their
like
amusement.
this.
Yeah. Because a Peter Yan O'Malley belt would be right underneath a Pereira Gane belt, which would be right underneath Chimaev Strickland. Or, yeah, you'd have to make it Strickland. Or Chimaev Imavov, because I'm assuming they've been working on this for a while. So let's say Chimaev Imavov, for sake of conversation, belt. Because that would be 3 belts. And obviously, Kayla Harris and Amanda Nunes. Kayla didn't heal it in time, so maybe they lost that one as well. That would have been 4 belts.
Yeah. And if it's true that, and we don't know when Gaethje knew he was going to be on the card. If
Yeah.
Gaethje knew he was going to be on the card and Topuria didn't, Gaethje had another opponent, which could have been Ruffy. And you get Michael Chandler to step in last minute to fight Ruffy. Ruffy, however you want to say his name.
Yeah.
Gaethje Ruffy would have been a great fight to see. A soft landing for Gaethje to defend his title and get out and retire if he wanted it that way. If he wanted it that way. So you could have had that fight made. One of Piotr Yan O'Malley might have gotten drops because Zahabi's going to step in to fight on that card to get a chance to fight O'Malley. Either one of those things could have happened. My bet was Sean Strickland was going to be put on that card, and you couldn't take a Russian coming in there, and you couldn't take the disaster that would have been Sean Strickland on the microphone on the White House lawn.
Correct.
Except that this president doesn't seem to care about any of those things. That's my
Things go higher than him, though.
I mean, either president.
Are we against
if you're talking about Dana White or you're talking about Trump, neither one of them seem to be crazy or seem to be worried about the crazy stuff somebody's going to say on the mic. Yeah, I don't know that there's either one of the presidents, Dana White or Trump, that would care about having a Russian on the White House lawn fighting or what Sean Strickland would say. If it were any other politician, I would say that both of those things would disqualify those fighters from being there. But with the people putting on this event, I don't think they care. So I don't know why that would matter in this, except that maybe it does because now we're, if you know what's going on with the U.S. and its politics, another war has presented itself. And but
I'm saying there's going to be lines drawn in the sand, and I feel like there's a lot of angles, right? There's a media angle where they know how good Chimaev is. They know how good Peter Yan is.
They would both be favorites in those fights.
Maybe them coming and winning on American soil is a bad look media-wise.
Yeah.
In that exchange, maybe Putin also having these guys have the belt and having to go defend it on the White House lawn is a bad look too.
What if the call they got was Putin saying, "My guys will not be allowed to leave the country to go"?
Yeah,
what if he pulled the plug on it?
And that's what I was throwing out there initially
Yeah.
too, because it could be higher than
Never thought
the
of it.
Russian fighters.
Never
It
thought
could
of
be
it.
higher than the president. It could be. This is a lot to try to put these people on. If you think about historically the Cold War and stuff, how much propaganda and stuff happened in that little window. Obviously, a new age, right, and a
Mhm.
new era, but imagery still matters,
Yeah.
and how things are viewed still matters.
Mhm.
And I feel like that's probably what went down behind the scenes a bit, because this card had the potential to be way bigger, and we know it
Well,
did. And some guys have been holding out for a long time.
mhm.
Some guys have been confirmed to be holding out for certain fighters. Chimaev himself said he was holding out for Strickland. This was the opportunity.
I just got another idea. And Dana mentioned it the other day, but I didn't see what he said. I just knew that he mentioned it.
Yeah.
Was that Connor was coming back in summertime.
Yes.
Apparently, he's
June
been
is
the
summer.
most tested person.
Yes.
If Connor was going to come back to fight Taporia for a 165 title and Connor pulled out, or
165,
Gaethje,
like
a new belt, yeah, a
that
new
would be
weight
kind of
class.
crazy.
If they were going to do a new weight class,
Inaugural belt.
yeah,
At
and they
that
were going to
fight.
give Connor a chance for 3 and Taporia a chance for 3, and it never came together.
So they're gonna sacrifice Connor
I mean,
for an inaugural belt at the White House. I mean, that's out there, but that could be. You never know. You'd hope they were shooting for something. You hope they were shooting for the moon with
yeah,
what the card turned into. I'm okay if you're telling me you were aiming for the greatest aspirations.
yeah,
Pereira v. John Jones,
mhm,
Chimaev v. Strickland, Jan v. Sean O'Malley,
right,
Connor v. Top. Like this is going to be the most loaded card in the history of cards.
yeah,
Even though Connor v. Top, outside of name value, would be disappointing in execution. But
perhaps.
yeah,
Could
something
you
some
imagine if it wasn't though?
or better yet, Chandler v. Connor for inaugural 165. That's how you give it back to Chandler to be like, hey man, thanks for being a company guy. Inaugural belt here. It would be terrible for the rest of the roster, but
I
like
feel like
Connor
Chandler.
coming in and fighting for an inaugural belt already is terrible for the rest of the roster. So
I feel like Chandler is a great guy. He would be a great friend to have, and the UFC does not respect him or care about his retirement plans or care about making things right with him. I
well,
don't.
you know how we talk about the guys who come from other promotions and come to the UFC, they don't care.
Yeah,
He was a Bellator guy. Who cares? Yeah, you're American, but you were Bellator. So
and
what?
yeah,
You've come over here and you've gotten beaten a bunch. You kind of did what you're supposed to do for our brand.
yeah.
Eh,
I don't think they have his back on
no.
this. And I honestly probably think that unless he comes out and says otherwise, it will probably remain my belief that there was another that Michael Chandler stepped in last minute.
I think he did.
Because if
Because
Gaethje,
Mauricio Ruffy Chandler could not be what you were working on this entire time.
no, but
Ain't no way. Especially when Ruffy just won
yeah,
a couple months ago.
so Ruffy could have been the last minute fight.
Yeah.
Ruffy could have jumped in
Could have
last
been
minute.
it could have been Connor Chandler.
It could have been Connor Chandler.
Because that was the talks. That was the whispers for the longest.
Yeah.
So it's finally gonna happen and it's gonna happen there.
Yep.
Right? Allegedly they tried to offer Connor Prates. Prates has come out and said that.
Really?
And that fell through. Could have been Prates Connor, Chandler Ruffy was gonna be like the mix if Connor couldn't make it down to the weight class that Chandler was gonna fight at. You move him up a weight class, you give him a fighting nerd, you have 2 fighting nerds, well, a former fighting nerd, back to back on the card. Connor gets to fight at 170. There's so many things I feel like could have been happening behind the scenes.
I feel like something went very wrong with this White House card.
Yeah.
It could have been just simply that fighters didn't want to go. That's one of
I
the
know
overlooked
John
things. Like,
is in his feelings about it.
well, yeah,
So John
because
definitely was in his arguments to possibly, it was going to be John v. Pereira for the interim heavyweight. That's my perspective on how that is.
I think that's probably correct. I think that was probably the one to make, and I think Dana came out so strongly against it afterwards. Like, John Jones was never, ever, ever in the mix. Like, I have a feeling John Jones doesn't feel that way.
Yeah, he does not.
I do not think that if you had a chance to make Pereira John Jones on the White House, you pass that up.
No, for sure.
I mean, even if you're the people who put Brock Lesnar in there against Mark Hunt, knowing he was still going to have the steroids in his system.
Yep.
Like, it was almost no doubt. I think it was pretty much understood because they said that he did not have to test or did not have to test negative to be able to do it. Like, they said it ahead of time. Like, they threw Mark Hunt in there with him to get him on the card. If they could have gotten John Jones on that card, I think they probably would have. The question is, why could they not get John Jones on that card? Was it over money? Was it something
They make it
else?
seem like one of the fights fell out because of like legal reasons.
I mean,
Who knows? There's so many angles, man. I feel like we need to approach this in a full pod. Obviously, we need to supplement it
yeah.
from our perspective because we could go back, do a little history on what our initial White House proposal card was, come back with what it actually is, and then come back with some fights that are good to make. Because, yeah, clearance, smearance, whatever, right? But
Yeah.
this card has like 7 fights. It's kind of low.
Yeah.
So we could do our own thing, add a couple to the back end, make our tweaks and see how we could have made this card what it was supposed to be. And who knows? There's a lot of time left. Guys get injured.
Oh, yeah.
We probably
This card will
have
probably not look the same come June 14th.
exactly. We have secondary fighters for sure that have gotten the call that they're going to be backing up.
Oh, they do know that?
Probably hasn't said anything. No, the guys who are backing up probably do know that, or like guys who are vying to back up probably are doing that already. So obviously, if something goes down, those fights are going to shift. As time passes, those guys might start rearing their heads and being like, yeah, I am a backup for the White House card.
So I got a question.
Yeah.
A lot of these fights are going to have Americans on them.
Mm-hmm.
If the American drops out, say O'Malley drops out, does Zahabi stay in? Or do they scratch that for a whole different fight?
If O'Malley drops out, you give Sandhagen's a hobby.
Yeah, I could see Sandhagen going there.
Yeah.
But this is interesting. Of the 4 participants in the title fights, only one of them is American. I did not expect that. Especially when they go to France and every other fighter is a French fighter. You know?
Probably want to Kayla Harrison to be on there. You probably want your best Americans to put their foot forward too. But that's the thing about
I mean, really,
Americans as well.
There's only one fighter who's not one fight that doesn't have an American in it, and that's that light heavyweight, which probably means that's the one that dropped out. That heavyweight interim because they don't have an American. That's probably the one, and that's probably your biggest tell that that's the way it was.
That it was John.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way you talked Pereira out. Yes, the 3 belts thing is cool. There's no way you talk Pereira out of vacating his belt to go fight Cyril Gane.
I mean, I'm inclined to agree with you. I'm inclined to agree with you. That just
doesn't make sense to me. Yes, the 3 belt thing is awesome, but you want to do that against a legend.
Mm-hmm. I think that's the tell. But my impressions of this fight card overall is it's pretty dull for what they said it was going to be. I think all the fights are good. I think Garcia Lopez is the one I'm looking forward to the most as far as how good of a fight it's going to be. I think that's your top one. Either Bo Nickel's going to dominate or Dawkins is going to knock him out. Ruffy can't grapple, it doesn't seem like, and Chandler's going to get laid out if Ruffy connects. So that'll be kind of interesting. Yeah. I think O'Malley goes out there and outstrikes the hobby. I think Pereira lays Gane. I think Pereira wins that on Gon. And Topuria and
Mm-hmm.
Gaethje, because I predicted it. I like that. Um, but as a huge 8 title fight card that they wanted it to be on July 4th at the White House, we're talking June 14th with this card.
Fight night.
This is a numbered card, and it's not even as good as a numbered card because you're getting a lot less fights.
I'd say that, but then this last one we watched was a numbered card, and it had no business being a numbered
I
card.
mean, that's true too. And when are we going to
So
stop
the
the
numbers don't really
differentiation
matter.
between a numbered card and
I think it's a historical thing at this point, just because
yeah.
you want to say, but
And
the value of the number is gone.
yeah. And this
It's gone.
this will be I know it's not the same thing you were just saying, but this will be a historical fight in the way
Oh no, for
that
sure.
it's at the White House. You can't really say it's in celebration of the country for 250 years. I mean, you can, but like it's not on July 4th. So it's not going to be that big event that they thought it was going to be and that they promised it would be. So,
And I want to know how they execute it. Is it going to be outside to the elements? Is it
yeah,
going to be a
under a tent.
little? Is it going to be a dome? Yeah. Is it going to be a tent? Because
I think they're going to go up to Academy Sports and get a couple of those stand-up tents and
and lay them out with the. I mean, to be honest,
get a circus high top up there. What are they going to do?
I don't know.
What they
Because
should have
I don't
done.
know. I don't know if they're going to let people in the building.
What I think
Is he?
they should have done is
Yeah.
done it out on the mall,
That would be cool.
right in front of the
That would be
Lincoln
cool.
Memorial
Oh gosh, that'd be cool.
Washington Monument. Done it out there
When
on
do
the
we get
mall.
what? When do we get a UFC tour of like stuff like that? Like, might be insensitive, but just like very cool buildings or areas in the country go host a fight if allowed.
I don't see why that
Wouldn't
would
that
be
be
insensitive,
cool?
though.
I thought of where I wanted to host one and the date I wanted to
Oh,
host one, and look, man, at 30 years old, I'm learning what to watch what I say.
yeah.
No.
I'll have to hear
I ain't
that
gonna
later.
say it. I'll tell you afterwards. I ain't gonna say it. But like, imagine like an outdoor fight in like the redwoods.
Oh my gosh.
Right. Like some scenic
It would
UFC
be
fights.
great for television if you're out in the
Yeah.
woods, but to actually be there in person would be a
Well, you
tough
don't have
thing
a
to do.
crowd.
Yeah,
You don't have a
you
crowd. Because
wouldn't
right
have a
now they're
crowd.
not even sure if they're gonna be able to have a crowd for the freedom fight one. That hasn't been cleared either.
Which is fine because they do them in the Apex and they've shown that they don't need necessarily a crowd.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like they think they're going to make their money. But as high dollar an event they say this is going to cost to put on, and to have this be your card, I think is disappointing for fans. I think they've disappointed their fans with this card.
They have.
That's what I think happened. And maybe they had a big fight. I heard Hunter Campbell and what's his name looked at their phones and were pretty surprised that somebody had dropped out and they had to put something else together. I want to know what that was. I think it was John Jones, and I think it was a Russian.
And I think at this point, like, yes, it's going to be a little bit of egg on the face, but as viewers, we want to know.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's any, like, the speculation is going to continue.
And you could be forgiven if you had a big fight lined up.
If you had it set up, if Little Ola Mall and Roger got on here and created a card that was stacked and made sense, I'm assuming the guys who their sole purpose in life right now, they probably have other interests. They probably want a podcast too.
They might even have a podcast.
They might even have a podcast, right? They watch the sport so intently and know all the intricacies that they could formulate a very good card.
Mm-hmm.
I want to believe that.
Yeah.
It's all the external factors that probably tanked it. That's also what I want to believe. So
yeah,
we'll leave it there. I think we'll leave it there for now because I think we need to do our own pod. There's a fight night coming up this week. We'll look at it. We might do a short review on it. or a preview on it, I should say, because covering this White House card, I think, is important because it's going to be news for the next few
Month.
months. Since we've been starting the Paramount era, since we've been starting the
Yeah.
video era, we talked about how important it is because fighters are being held out. These cards have kind of sucked, to be transparent. Like, from a name value perspective and guys you expect to be seeing being active,
Mm-hmm.
these cards have been kind of absent of that level of talent. And all we've been saying is they better be holding it out for the White House card.
And
They
then,
weren't.
yeah. Yep.
They weren't. Or if they were, things fell apart.
Yep.
So we need to know why. And we'll be back on here to kind of discuss that. Hopefully soon, man.
I hope
But
so.
on back to the main note, uh, UFC Fight Night 326. Call it what you want. It happened. I don't want to call it a success necessarily, because from some people's perspective, it wasn't.
Right.
I had a good night of watching the fights because I like fighting, even if sometimes it's not that great. But I fell in love with some new prospects. I got disappointed on the back end.
Mm-hmm.
I watched a guy potentially win a fight by losing each round, which I've never seen in my entire time watching fights. And
Yeah.
it was something new, and that's kind of why we do this. Any closing thoughts, Roger?
Fight card coming up is going to be decent. But this last one, I liked it. I found, you know, a few fighters that I'll watch a lot of the fights that they're in. I found some that they're coming up. I'll watch the future prospects. Um, I really want to see Charles Oliveira in his next fight. I want to see if he looks as big in his next fight as he did in this one, and if he looks as good at getting the takedown. A lot of times he's ended up on the mat. It has not necessarily been on purpose. Of course, a lot of times it has, but he seemed to have found a solid way to get Max down, and I'd like to see if that continues.
I need Sarukian part 2.
Yeah,
I need that
yeah.
because
I don't know that he does that against Sarukian. In fact, I'd say he probably does not do that against Sarukian.
go back and watch the first Sarukian fight.
Okay.
Go back and watch the first Sarukian fight.
Did he do that to Sarukian?
Go back and watch the 1st
I'll go
Sarukian
back
fight.
and watch the first Sarukian fight.
Sarukian got out of a guillotine because his shorts fell down. You're laughing. That's how Max's legs slipped off of him. He had him in a body lock. He was choking him. It was deep.
Mm.
And the legs slipped off because Sarukian's shorts slid down. That's for one of them. There was another attempt too, which was close to the back end of the round.
Okay.
That he was able to survive. It was a back and forth.
I didn't see that fight.
Yeah, go back and watch that one. It was competitive enough. That's why I'm calling for it to be a part 2. Because we were very, very. There were many moments in there where
Okay.
Oliveira was moments away from winning. And I think he wants that one back, because if I'm him, I'd want that one back.
Yeah, and that propels you to a title shot no matter who's got the title.
1,000%. 1,000%.
Yeah, that is your way
if you're
back.
if you're the UFC and you hate Sarukian like you hate Sarukian,
Sarukian Oliveira is perfect, because Sarukian's not getting he doesn't have a fight lined up. Oliveira just finished, so he doesn't have a fight lined up. You have to put cards together for after, and really before. You could there's another couple of fight nights, or maybe even numbered cards that aren't even named yet. They're before that June 14th fight. So
exactly.
I mean, you're gonna have. I think Oliveira Sarukian too, if it was competitive the first time, like you say, that that would be a good fight for both of them.
The thing is,
I like it.
It was just so recent that might be the argument, but quite frankly, I don't care.
When was it?
Last year.
How did I miss that fight? Sarukian Oliveira?
I don't know. Yeah, it was like, let me see.
I'm texting you if I start to watch that fight, and I'm like, oh no, I've seen this. Because I do not remember that. I thought you were talking about years ago.
It was really recent. I think it's the last one that Sarukian fought was before he fought
Hooker.
What's his name? Hooker. Yeah, it was 2024 of April. So 2 years ago, my bad.
2 years ago.
3-round fight, split decision.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
Great. Again, Um,
I don't even know
Great
how to
fight.
look that up on Paramount, but I'll have to figure it out. All right.
You'll just have to scooch back a little bit. It's odd. It's an odd one. Um, it's UFC 300, so
Oh,
like
okay. That might be why I
it should
missed
be
it
on
because
there.
so many other big fights were on that.
Yeah. Um, significant strike totals: 19 for Charles, 49 for Arman. So that should let you know what type of fight it was.
Yeah.
15-minute fight. Arman had 8 minutes, 41 seconds of control. Go watch the fight.
Okay.
Just go watch the fight. I think you'll be highly impressed. And you'll understand why I'm calling for it to happen again.
Yeah.
There's been 20 plus numbered cards since then, so guess it's not that long ago. 2 years, that's fine. Let's run it back.
Yeah.
Let's run it back. UFC gets what they want, I get what I want, and we call it a day. This has been The Art of MMA. We've been giving you some long podcasts
Yeah.
recently. So if you guys have long drives, you can just throw us on back to back to back to back to back to back. You know, you're driving up to Virginia. That's 6 podcasts.
Yeah.
Just throw us on, right? You got a beach trip to Orange Beach and you live in Tallahassee, just throw us on.
There you go.
Just throw us on. Listen to us for a little bit. We will be back hopefully soon. Again, fight night coming up this weekend. It's such a good one that I don't even remember who the headliners are.
Vallejos
Vallejos
Emmett.
versus
Emmett.
I forgot the other guy.
Josh Emmett.
Should be a good one.
Yeah.
But we'll be talking about the White House card some more, if I'm being honest. Any closing thoughts, Roger?
None.
None
Today.
Allow soccer kicks. And on
Or
that
stick
note,
to the rules. One or the
or
other.
stick to the rules. Stick to the rules or allow soccer kicks. There's no in between.
Stop calling it real fighting if you're not going to allow this stuff. And if you want to know when somebody comes after you what to do, just kick them between the legs. I think that's our lesson from this podcast. Just kick them between the legs and do it repetitively. They're going to stop. They're going to start running from you.
Works in every form of fighting. They're going to stop. They're going to start running from you. Until next time. Peace.
Later.